Greetings friends, and welcome to another typical T rambling long play. In this video, we're diving back into the latest Manor Lords beta update. Along the way, we'll build a gorgeous level 3 church, situate our stone castle at the centre of the new map Wide Valley, and learn the hard way a few important things about how the new livestock work. We join the journey at the very beginning, but as ever, you can use the timestamps to skip ahead of the early game. But enough of all that. Without further ado, grab yourselves a cup of tea and relax alongside me in Manor Lords. Let's get right down to it then. So as you can see down here, we have started in the wonderful little valley at the centre. Ooh, a new message. We shall indeed attempt to get to the large town settlement level. Unfortunately, the bridges is still a little bit broken, but never fear. We've started on this side of the bank this time, in the centre, in the Schlau region, and we're going to grow from here and see if we can't push out to fully occupy the central area, small though it might be. Oh, look at this! We've spawned in, we've got strong stone, rich stone deposit, rich iron deposit. We've got some fishes here, we've got some mushrooms there. Must be careful of those, mustn't I? And a little bit of clay there as well. What's our fertility looking like? Not so good, but we can still grow plenty of oats, can we? Oh, we'll have to be careful where we are building here, because we're definitely going to want to grow some oats so we can have some animals. It may be that we're settling in this general direction over here then, because there is much fertility in this here region, Peltaloch, which we did claim last time in the previous playthrough, but we did not end up settling. So that might be something for us to do as well. Where else do we have fertility? Is that it? The only region on this map? It does appear that that is the case. What other resources might we be needing? What have we got in terms of salt? Anyone got a reasonable amount of salt? I mean, I've got plenty left over from last time when I, built over some mushrooms. So there's some salt up here in the region in which we previously played, which is over in Krangveiger, and there's a little bit to in right. That's looking a good option over there then. Without further ado though, let's get on and do some building. He says, I tricked you. I'm going to build some roads. What I'm going to do is I'm going to see if we can't... Oh my goodness. Oh, I've been waiting for this. Look, when I choose fertility tab, and I select the road tool, I can still see the fertility. Oh yes. What we're going to do is go around the outside of the stone here, for starters. But we're going to build around the particularly fertile areas for oats to make sure that we have space later on for farming them. And I've got a bit of a plan for how we're going to do that. I'm kind of thinking what we might do is build burgages backing directly onto these fertile farm areas, and that the road layout would kind of be determined by where the fertility is. And little did I know, they've just made life a whole lot easier for us, haven't they? They've enabled us to see fertility while we've got the road to open. It's not something I'd seen in the patches, wasn't aware it was there, but oh my goodness, am I glad. Look at that. Fantastic. Well, I think we should probably do that. Oh, when I press road tool, it comes back. I'm in love. I'm in love with this new update. It's official. I love Manor Lords. Didn't know if you could tell. I've loved Manor Lords for some time, but I love it even more at this juncture. So, come down across here. Protect that as well, and I think we'll just put a little cross in these areas for now as well. And that's just going to remind Typical that that area has been set aside for something else, seeing as roads don't cost zilch to us. I think we'll do the same on the little island here. Whether or not we'll end up farming anything there, I don't know, but it's good to know that's fertile for oats. Same here as well. And usually I have all my farms kind of conglomerated together on one part of the map, but this time we're going to have them spread across all over the place, depending on where it is fertile. Ooh, look how fertile that is. So much green. So much green. And then there's just two areas left really, isn't there? So there's this one down here. And we'll guide this through the forest like so. Maybe we have a bit of a straighter road here though. Sure. Do that. And then draw a little, not so little cross through it. And then just this one up here, which is, I think, probably the largest one. Probably even larger than that first one, or maybe not quite as large as the first one we did, where we've spawned our settler camp, but nonetheless, we'll want to use this later. Good. Well, now we've literally X-marked the spot the map up, which looks rather silly, doesn't it, on the top-down view here. We'll get in and consider what we might do for our starter settlement. So let's build a little road coming along the face of the river here, so that we might do some fishing. Follow this around so... Terrain does something funny here, does it? It looks like it... Yeah, okay, we'll come back out like that there then. We're coming back around these rocks. I do love exploring new regions. I think we'll continue with the path along the river, really. Quite like how that's looking. Goodness, so much of this region has a river next to it. Go to there, and then we might as well just carry on, hadn't we? Although, actually, it gets a bit steeper there. We probably want to have the road across the top area of that, and we might want to do that down here as well. Difficult wasn't paying attention to his geography. Oh well, we won't worry about that too much for the moment, because I think we can probably still build down to this. Is that going to be too steep? Let us investigate. Yes. Let's delete that road then. Never mind. Let's start again. And these fish, are they in the water this time? No, we've still got the floating fish. Wonderful. They are by far the juiciest fish. Let's follow the ley lines a bit here then. And not ley lines. I've made that mistake before, haven't I? Thank you, commenters. Thank you. I hear you, and I love you. And what I'm trying to say is topography, I believe. We want to follow the geography of the topography of the land so that we might build reasonably realistic settlements. We don't want some fanciful hill-based rubbish, do we? No, not at all. Not at all, sir. I'm getting distracted by building roads again, aren't I? Sorry, everyone. Typical is rather prone to getting distracted roading. Well, do we want this really finishing in here like that? I'm not sure I love that. What we might do is use this as a guide for how we set this road out. Like that, and delete the original one we placed. Yeah. Okay. I think that might be workable. Then, of course, we want to make sure we're building nice and close to our starting settlement. So we'll kick things off with the usual, which is going to be a logging camp to bring us, you guessed it, some logs and stuff. We'll put this down. There's plenty of logs in this direction. We're just going to be gathering everything up in the immediate vicinity. So we might as well go right on the edge here, because we are definitely going to move it later on. So pop that one down there, and we'll get a little road network connecting all of this gubbins up. And then we'll connect this out to the main road. Ah, yes, through here. Looks like a good option. And then we can use this road to start building our other bits and bobs on. We will put a granary and storehouse, etc. there, but I think we're going to focus, as we have done recently, first on the hitching post, which we'll get down just here. And we will order in another ox and relocate this hitching post next door to that one. With that done, we can go ahead and get our first couple of houses down with 6 available logs, and as usual, we want to make sure we've got some space for some vegetable growth. So pop down, what do we think? Maybe come away from the edge slightly. If we build a couple of smaller ones here, maybe even 3, and then we'll build a reasonably large vegetable plot behind it. 2 doubles, that might not be a bad idea for a starter. I kind of want those camps out the way. Might have to start a little bit further along. Come on then, let's try snapping you to the road, shall we? Surely. Ah, there we go. Right, that's a perfect start, so we'll put those down there. We'll set the priority for the hitching post to be the highest, followed by the logging camp, and we'll set time going. We'll watch our industrious little settlers get to work, building, moving logs around, and it should be a nice quick start given how close we put all these buildings to our starting resources. And indeed, the hitching posts are already up. Ooh, let's put a little road in here to speed things up, so they're not having to go all the way around there to get to the building site, and then the ox should make his way back up here. Wonderful. As soon as we get the logging camp up, I'm going to get 3 families working there, so we can get a few logs cut down in the immediate forest. With those logs coming in, they're over here now, aren't they, the timber? I don't know why I keep calling them logs. I suppose, really, it's because they're logs, isn't it? That might be why. Even if they are called timber in the game. Anyway, another mortgage. We'll go for a larger one here. That extends out behind. How's that? Let's bring this in a little bit here. Yeah. Quite like how that looks, so we'll set that to be constructed there. Then we are going to need to make sure we get a granary and storehouse so we can store away our precious goods. And we'll start with those just on the road here. The granary there, storehouse here, and we'll have a market stall in this area. Water is another necessity, I hear, of people, and we are intending to have people in the settlement, so we'll put down a water source there. Getting as many people tucked away in properties as we possibly can. There's only 2 families working on construction, but that should be enough to get us moving in the right direction. Between these burgages here, we should be able to accommodate all of the existing families once we get the expansions popped on. They're all nice and close to our starting resources, as we've said before. We can afford one rain shower on this difficulty without our starting goods supplies being destroyed by the poor weather, so we will not worry about that too much at the moment. And look at this, we're in Right Valley here, aren't we? In the Wide Valley map. I guess it is just one big basin, isn't it, in the center of this, and everything else is higher up. Ooh, some interesting formations around here. Stepped terrain, that's pretty cool. Oh, I'd love to build something in that region. Are those steps? No, they kind of have been textured to look like a rocky path, though, which I quite like. What region is this? Hellenstein? I guess because it's hilly. Oh, we could build some cool castles up there, couldn't we? Oh, we're going to be doing stuff in Hellenstein in the future, let me tell you. Does that continue to go up into this region as well? It does. The kind of the plateau up here in Newt. I love that word. Oh, and it continues across here. I think I might have a new favourite map, everybody. Getting distracted. Oh, look, we're a small village. Things happen so quickly. We want space for people to move in, so let's get that built sharpish. There's our first rainstorm. We're probably doing absolutely splendid for timber. So let's quickly reassign some families to get some construction done on the storehouse and the granary. Lovely, and we'll get a few more burgages, I think. We're getting in danger of getting in way of the iron deposit, though. So it's just going to be... We might have to start going this way already. Can we get something in this space here? I know we said we would put the market stall just up here. Oh, that's weird, isn't it? It's weird, and I like it. We'll build that there. Let's get a family at the granary and a family at the storehouse to move some of those goods inside. We're going to turn off their market stalls for the moment so that we can get in here and build ourselves our very own marketplace, and we'll squeeze it in here instead. Good, so plenty of stall locations. We're going to need, for sure, a saw pit, so we'll get that down next, and we'll put that down just here. Turn off snapping and get that set down like this, so we can access it from both sides. Connect a little road in here and a road in here. A little bit like that. Good stuff. I think that's all the supplies tucked away, so we will unassign those workers, get rid of this little road in here, and replace it with a proper one. Ooh. Hope we can fit one in here now. Yep, looks like we're fine. So we've got that little road set in there, and then maybe we'll continue this one off towards the stone deposit over there. And of course it'll need to mesh in with this one over here anyway. Because there we're going to have those farms. Let's get a family working at the saw pit. And we want to set some limits up over here. So we want to have at least 6 timber left over. And we'd probably aim for a surplus of our usual 50 planks to start with. Need to get some more properties built so we're not missing out on that beautiful migration. Where are we going to put it? We've got this one here, didn't we? So we'll get an expansion on you straight away. We will be getting a lovely vegetable garden in yourself there. We could do some housing off here, actually, without getting in the way of the iron deposit. So if we put down another large or small, we get here. Don't actually hate that. It's not terrible use of space. It's not great use of space, don't get me wrong, but not terrible either. What about this here? Yeah, can't say I like that. Let's go for a couple of small burgages here. In fact, we can come back a snap point there, or half a snap point at the very least. Let time tick on, because we do have accommodation available at present. But a couple of small burgages there, and then we fill this out with one. Potentially, I think actually we could probably get another small burgage here. And once again, we can go tighter at the bottom of that. Okay. And then we'll get a larger one filling up this space here. Possibly coming from this direction. Maybe not. Might leave it for a minute. We've got a few spots coming up for accommodation at any rate. Right, food is something else we'll need to make sure we have access to, as per usual. So we'll get down a fisherman's hut just as soon as we have enough resources. Let's get another family working back at the logging camp to see if we can't make that happen. We'll also want you to be vegetables. And there's a little bit of fertility here that is not so good anyway. Yeah, so we'll make sure to get our fishery located just there. Some firewood wouldn't go amiss. We'll see about getting this put down. Maybe, well, maybe that can go in this little spot here. And then we'll put a road out this way so we can maintain decent access for our beautiful woodcutters. And then perhaps this could be a spot where we get a few more dwellings. You'll have a good dwelling. It's where, you know, people dwell and all that good stuff. Alas, we're a bit goods short though. We should probably get a family working at the fisherman's hut pretty sharpish. So we'll do so. It's 168 fish, so we can harvest a fair number of them. I might set the limit to 100. And this is where we could start to do with a few additional families, couldn't we? How are we doing for finances? So we've got 30 of our finest regional coins. Could spend 22 of them there, but I do rather like the idea of being able to establish a trade route, as we usually do in the form of some charcoal trade. So we'll go to logistics, see about building ourselves a trading post, and we'll do this over here on the King's Road. That seems a sensible location. And then we might actually connect this road through here. Go fairly straight and then come across perhaps. Okay, yeah, just connect down through like that. Yep, I think that's fine, and that gives us another route through to the trading post. Would certainly be good to get some crops in the ground, but at least we have some food coming in from there. Where are the berries? Oh no, not berries, the mushrooms, they're all the way over there. Don't know if we want to be bothering with those especially, we'll have to see how we get on. Another thing we're going to need is, of course, charcoal. We'll get a family working at the woodcutter's lodge so we can start to bring in some of that good stuff. We don't need a family at the saw pit for the moment, so we can free them up for construction momentarily while we go and find ourselves a lovely charcoal kiln, which I suppose is an industrial, which of course it is. And we'll put this, we're thinking about having housing there, weren't we? Okay, I'll have to go in this newly mostly cleared area. We'll just maybe connect this road across like so, and then pop this in here. Grand, and we might as well finish that road out that way. Good stuff. Might actually do something a bit more like this, just to make it a little bit more visually interesting. We'll then get a family working at the charcoal kiln. Well, let's go to the trading post, and we're going to go to commodities, we're going to export charcoal, buy our trading route, and set ourselves a surplus of 20 of the good old things. 2 families unassigned, one of whom is going to go and work at the charcoal kiln, the other will leave for construction because we're always going to need more dwellings, although we have got 5 available at the moment, which might do us for the time being. Let's see how we get on then. So we have got a couple of doubled up as well. Still wouldn't mind planning out where they're going to go. Maybe we'll get a couple in here. So we'll put 2 down, and then maybe a larger one behind it that we can use for a 3rd vegetable patch. So get those there, and then put this one out just like so. We'll hold off on that one until a few more of these trees have been cut down, because I feel like it'd be a waste to build it now when we can't get in there anyway. And I'm fairly happy with how things are going so far. It looks like we've got a source of food to start with. We've got the fish, the floating fish of the magical river. We haven't got anyone working at the granary and storehouse yet because we're a bit short on labour, but we are starting to make firewood, we're starting to make charcoal. We hopefully will be manning a chap at the trading post before too long. And we've got enough accommodation to get us started. I wonder if we're not even that far off being able to build our first church. We could indeed go for that. Might not be a bad idea, and that's something our remaining family could actually do. Work on construction-wise while we're still waiting for some trade to happen, perhaps. As soon as the next family moves in, I'm going to send them over to work at the trading post. Although, how are we doing for logs? We're doing fine. We could consider assigning someone from the logging camp. Someone has just moved in, so I am going to put them over there and not worry too much about it for the second. But in the meantime, granaries and storehouses could do with workers. So we are going to unassign one family there and put them to work in the granary. As much as I'd like to upgrade that to a large granary, I think we are going to focus on the church first. And where are we going to put the church? Given it is a beautiful new level 3 capable building, probably not in the heart of the industrial area over here. How about here on this slight hill overlooking the lake? We did put one here previously. It did look good. You know, monastery mound in the centre of the river. But slightly higher up over here, isn't it? So I think we'll put it here. And orientation-wise, I'm not really sure how it works. So usually the new stone church has its tower at the same end, so on the left as we're looking at it here. And that gets incorporated on the left-hand side of the nave. So the nave would be facing us, I'm guessing, from this perspective. So how do we want it? We probably want the nave and the tower kind of pointing out towards the river. I think we'll go there. And then we'll connect this up to the road network with a couple of little roads here. Lovely. Going through the centre of the monastery. We've sped time up, so that's all going swimmingly. We'll allow our granary to have a market store, which also means they can go in here and empty out the fishery. Although we're actually full on fish for the moment. We can't get any more out of the river without overfishing. So we'll unassign that family, and perhaps they can go and help at the trading post for the time being to help with getting a little bit more charcoal sold. And how are we doing for charcoal on the subject of trade? We've got 62, so there's a fair bit for us to trade away. So that is a decent option. We're actually up to 30 coins. I think we are going to spend some of those and get some seeds in the ground, rather than wait to be able to afford ourselves a horse, because we do need some food for next year. Have we cleared a few more of these trees? Let's set ourselves up a working area here to see if we can't chop down some of those in the immediate vicinity. We could get the saw pit working soon as well, though for the moment our oxen are busy transporting all the goods that we need for our church. We're into July, so, you know, why is it highlighting May? We're in August now. June, July, August. How weird. It's got that little detail around it that would suggest that's the season we're in, but it is not. I do love the new way we can assign families with the seasonal hiring. I absolutely love it. I've been waiting for that for a long time. Long time. Okay, we'll upgrade these hitching posts as soon as we have the resources. Another family's moved in. I'm going to send them to work at the saw pit to make us a few more planks. We've got those ready. Mixing ox guide, indeed. So I am definitely finding recently that the game wants us to assign a family to work with guiding oxen. So we do actually have to assign people to the hitching post or the stables. So that's something we'll be trying to keep an eye on in the future. A few more coins come in there. What I think I'll do is I'll just hover around and I'll micromanage things just until we've got a few more families moved in, and we've got a few more coins in the regional wealth, and then we shall revisit things. Little bips. We are well into autumn. Winter is definitely looming. We're in October. The church is being constructed, and I'm quite happy with the location where we have it. I did get someone working back at the fishery and decrease the limit to 50 fish so we can harvest a bit more in, because we're a little low on money, or on food rather. We've got some more beets planted down here, and just as soon as we move in here, we'll have some beets from that locale as well. Some people indeed are ready to upgrade, and just as soon as we've got a little bit more money, we'll be investing in buying ourselves a lovely horse. And we've only got one space for someone to move into, so that would mean to me we need to do a little bit more expansion. So this spot here is something I've been eyeing up, so we'll go in here next to our charcoal kiln and see about filling this out. Okay, a little bit like that. It's going to make for quite a nice vegetable plot there. I'd quite like to get into farming fairly early on. Oh, look at that. Medium village already. Isn't that lovely? I'd quite like to get into some proper farming early on so we can get animals, but I don't know if we're going to be able to do that this year. It's quite late in the year, but it would be nice to have it ready for the next. So that's something potentially we can take a look at. We need to obviously get a farm to work this area, and maybe in this part here wouldn't be a bad location. Now, obviously, we've got the stone and iron we'd like to start working as well. Probably iron sooner rather than later, so we can start making our own tools. In fact, let's go ahead and get ourselves a mine in location. So we've got a rich deposit, so we want to make reasonably good use of this. But I think we'll just go along here on the King's Road for the moment and get one of those down. And we may then get a few more than just the one. So I'm just going to leave that at the moment before we develop the road network any further. This chap here, you're going to be for some more vegetables once again, my friend. And then I think along here might be a good spot to expand our accommodation. So if we kind of link this across here, just the rear here, maybe take one sweeping road. Yes, I think I like the look of that. And then we will box in our wonderful hitching posts. Or will we? Yes, we will. We'll take a road coming down like this there. And that'll give us a spot for a new granary and storehouse to make sure we have plenty of space for these in the future. And we're a little bit low on the old stone, so that's something we can start gathering before too long. We've got plenty of unassigned families, haven't we? Let's get a few more assigned. One to the logging camp. And we'll go for another one potentially to the woodcutter's lodge. We're obviously going to need to start moving the production in that direction to where we have trees. Because I think we're going to spread out and fill up the space here. So I don't want to get planting any trees in that area specifically. What we can do though is go and get those burgages down before we run out of accommodation space for people to be moving into. And we'll very much go in the same ilk that we have been doing thus far. So we'll start on snap halfway across here. We just want a couple of burgages with some extensions on the rear. Lovely. And we'll fill out this space here. Over the top. That could be our, potentially, this could be our first orchard. What I might do is put a road up here, just to create a bit more of a clear dividing line, and that'll allow us to run this round like so. Good. And I suppose we could keep this road, couldn't we? We curve it at the top here. A little bit like that. That looks quite nice where that branches off. And we can get down then a few more small burgages. Okay, just about squeeze a tall one in here. I think we'll repeat the process of putting a straight road up here, so we've got something to snap to. And that'll do for our little housing expansion. That might lend itself to a orchard. And then we'll put a road. Just trying to have these little curves, I think, at the ends of the roads. Make things look much more natural than having those straight points. So we'll try and do that where we can. Do we orchard? Yeah, I think we orchard there. See if we can get some apples early on, or at least get them planted up so that we have them before too long. We are definitely going to struggle for food. We've not got as much in from our lovely vegetable plots here as perhaps I was hoping. Now, I'd imagine that our mushrooms are all but gone. We might struggle a bit here. We've got 164 monies. Are there any trades that are cheap for food? There are some minor trades here. Okay, well let's go straight away and see if we can't import some bread. And hopefully if we assign a few more families to work there, we can't afford to buy a horse because we need the money to buy bread. And hopefully that might just see us through, and for the same reason I'm not going to plant anything up in there just yet. And Typical may have been over-optimistic with his population again. As regards to our perk, I think we're going to go for either prosecutors. No, not prosecutors. I think we'll go for smiths of Passu, because that's going to give us the increased blacksmith efficiency, increased weapon export value, and that's the key thing, because I think that's going to be our main source of income for this region, given that we have a lovely, rich iron mine. And in fact, we'll get a family working there, so we can start extracting some of that from the ground right away. And then we'll go ahead and get ourselves a bloomery, which of course is in industry, so we can start turning some of that into iron. Maybe we'll pop this on the other side of the road, and immediately adjacent to that we'll get down a storehouse, and we'll put some, we'll use that storehouse for dedicated storage, so we can start to do a bit more tailored storage solution. Previously in the last playthrough we just kind of smashed everywhere and got on with it, but this time I'd like to do something a little bit more intricate and make sure that we're storing things in the right places. With that, I wonder if we can export some iron ore. Yeah, if we set to export, desired surplus of like 5, and we'll sell everything else over that, just to see if we can really push the whole finances coming in. Did we buy some bread there? We've got 8 rye bread. Doesn't look like it's going to last us very long. We don't have to get far, do we? I mean, hopefully we're not going to have any starvation going on. Let's get another 2 families working at the mining pit so we can start extracting that iron at a rate of knots, because we have the people. We've got 4 spots for people to move into, and we don't really want to be adding any more, really, because it's going to just cause us more food-based problems. We just need to get through until the beets come out of the ground next year, and from there we'll pretty much be dandy, plain sailing from then on. No point in missing out on the opportunity to get some upgrades though, so we'll upgrade these burgages. We've still got plenty of people working at the logging camp, which already I'm starting to think we should move a little bit further out. It is full of logs though, so what we might do is start with a new logging camp. We'll pop this over here, and that'll be able to harvest the trees in this area, and this might be somewhere we keep forested. It's a little bit steeper, a little bit hillier, so we may use that as our forested area. Especially as the mushrooms are inside, and we don't want to build over those, do we? Can you imagine someone building over mushrooms? It would be a terrible thing to do, wouldn't it? Anyway, without dwelling on that point too long, how are we getting on here? Please make money. We need to trade to survive, my friends. Trade to survive. It is rather a feature, isn't it, of my long plays? Getting a little bit close on the whole food front. Oh dear. I wonder if you guys are finding this. Is this a typical thing? Or is this something you're also coming across in the latest edition of Manor Lords, where things are just a little bit harder, they take a little bit longer? I don't think so. I think, well, they do. They definitely do. I think construction time as a whole has been slowed down a little bit. But I also think the fact that I have started really maximizing my population in the early game, getting as many people as I can, which I used to take a little bit more sedately, that's definitely having an impact on the food situation, especially when you start with something like some fish, because I don't think that's a particularly good starting resource of food, although I could have got some of the mushrooms, I suppose. Still, I take a hunting hound with a hunting hound upgrade any day. That does give us a nice passive income of meats. Well, we've got no food left, but it is January, so hopefully before too long we'll have a little bit more. There's some money coming in, and we are still buying in some rye bread, hopefully. So there is hope. There is hope. In the meantime, we'll just continue upgrading and smiling, because there's nothing else to be done, is there? What I suppose we could do is start planning out some of these fields while we're waiting for our citizens to either starve or thrive. So we'll go ahead and get ourselves the... He says, as he thinks about construction, why don't we get the farm bill, actually? And... oh, I was going to say it could go where the logging camp is at the moment, but I think it might be a bit too big. Would it fit? Might just fit. I think we'll put it in here regardless. So we'll get our first farm and pop it on the road there. And then as for its fields, here, so oats, great. How are we for wheat? Not so good. I wonder if that's going to be a... barley's okay. So barley and oat similar. It does look like they use the same fertility, but needed to different degrees. That's cool. Okay, well in that case we could do some rye here, couldn't we? Oh, goodness, terrible for rye there. It is completely different. Well, maybe we'll just do barley and oat. It'll depend what the harvest would be. It's actually better for wheat than it is for rye. What? Never seen that before. Smell, it's great. Fire hazard? Oh dear. Don't want that, do we? Anyway, back on Oatland. Let's go for a series of small fields, and we just need to build over the King's Road so the game recognizes it as something we can snap against. And let's just keep these relatively small so that we don't have to worry too much about how easy it is or is not to harvest them. Let's just turn off fertility because it's even harder to see them when I'm just looking at the snow and the white lines. Believe it or not. Just get a whole bunch of little fields in here. And out like that. I think what we should probably do is have a little road that kind of puts a curved end to the fields. Yeah, I think so, rather than just a straight line against where we have the water's edge. So we've got those in there. And then we'll put these over in here. And we'll roughly match them on this side. Like so. And what we will do though is we'll get the facility for oats back up and little road in here. Then looking at what we've done on the other side for our last couple of farms in here. Haven't seen any starving notifications yet, so I'll take that as a positive sign that things are going reasonably okay. Oh, there we are. The family is hungry. But we are coming out of February now, I believe. Yep, and into March, and there should be beets coming up out of the ground by the fistful. There we go. So we can go over to the trading post and we can stop importing that extortionate bread. It has just about tided us over to when we needed it the most, and I'm pretty happy with how that's worked out. We might just wait until we've got enough money to buy ourselves a horse, and then we'll be working on getting ourselves established with a few more fields for vegetables. In the interim though, why don't we go ahead and build a forager hut. We'll take advantage of the source of mushrooms that we have up here. Even though it's not many, it'll boost our food while we're still getting the vegetable game set up. So put a little road in there for them as well. And you two are going to be an orchard. Down here, ooh, there we go, money's come in. Let's buy ourselves a horse. And then can we get some vegetables? Kind of want to get carrots in there, to be honest. Well, we could always get some chickens with the money, so we'll buy a couple for those dwellings there. And then we'll go ahead and get some animal pens in these ones. Splendid. I'm quite happy with how this little community is growing up here. I'm going for quite a densely packed arrangement. Well, it is quite a small region, isn't it? In Der Schlau, here in the center of the newest map, newest edition. I can't wait to see what this looks like when it's completely filled out. And we've got the level 3 church. Oh, so exciting. Talking of level 3 churches, we should probably get a joiner at some point so we can make some wooden cogs, which will in turn allow us to construct ourselves. Where is it? It's in logistics, is it not? Yes. Construct ourselves a lovely construction yard to increase the speed of all of our various constructions. So it's definitely on the list of something we want to do. It's March. Should we? We've got excess families. What am I doing? Let's get some of them working at the farm. We'll get a plow as well, and we'll very quickly come in here and we'll go. So we're going to do... Let's pause the game so we get all this at the same time. We'll do oats, followed by barley, and do we want to do flax? Might be no point. I guess, is 65% rye still better than 44% wheat? I don't know. This was in the update. You'll have to let me know below, guys. I'm going to go for wheat. I might go for both, you know, actually. Okay, so we'll go oats, rye, and... oats, barley, rye, sorry. Oats, barley, and rye. And then we'll do a final oats, barley, rye rotation. Oats, barley, and rye. And then on this one, we'll do oats, barley, and wheat. And then we'll follow that rotation round for oats, barley, wheat. Like so. Final one here. Oats, barley, and wheat. And then the last two, we will do oats, barley, and fallow. And we will see if that has a better yield over time than the others. And that's how we're going to test if we actually need to put a fallow year in or not. And I think, guys, this is probably the earliest, guys and girls, or, you know, 3% if you're out there. I think this is probably the earliest I've done any farming in Manor Lords. Very exciting stuff. So we'll get the farmhouse all set up. As we get money coming in as well, it wouldn't be a bad idea to get a few more oxen ordered. So we'll get some more stables here in anticipation of said money coming in. And I wouldn't mind having a spare family if we unassign one potentially from the logging camp. Or how are we doing for firewood? Nah. Yeah, I can still use them. Right, we'll unassign a logging camp family and we're going to send them to work at the forager's hut. We'll buy them some herbs for a little garden, why not? And then we'll unassign our last family from the logging camp and assign them over here to the new one. We'll assign them a permanent livestock and get them some hitching posts ensconced behind the local forester's hut. Up to the road here, so they've got a source of oxen. Next little road in just like so. Look at that, crops starting to go down into the fresh fields. properly exciting stuff, wouldn't you say? How are we doing on the market stall? We haven't checked in there for a little while, have we? Oh, good gracious. Horrendously undersubscribed on the storage facility. We're doing quite a lot of iron mining. I wouldn't mind getting ourselves a few stones. So why don't we go ahead and place ourselves a quarry. And where are we going to put this? We want space for a couple, ideally. We don't need more than 3, though. So if I get one, we turn off snapping momentarily. So we can fit one right at the bottom. The roads do rather get in the way. I think if we go sort of like this. So we go 1. I don't know if we do get 3 here. How far do we have to squeeze this up in here to get 3? Might just be 2. 2 might be enough though. What I think we will do though is we will just quickly delete this road and see if we might have to eat into the fertile area a little bit to get this done. So 1, would like 3. 2 and 3. You can fit 4 on this, but we will settle for 3. We'll connect that up to the road there and come in like this here. And you know what? That can be... Just do it there quickly. That could almost be where we have a quarry just slightly overlapping into some farm area. I don't think that'll look too bad. Just come round with the road like so. Okay. I think that's fine. And connect to the road like that, and then around. Maybe get rid of that, and we'll extend that through like that. Sure. We'll go with that for the time being. We'll get those constructed so we can start moving in that general direction, because we're going to need to build some more granaries soon. And we'll also want to get ourselves a storage facility for all of the goodies coming out of the stone pits. It's a good location here. Get that there, and build a road for it. And can we fit a stonemason station in that gap there? Oh, it's very close. Not quite. Well, we can get some down here instead. So I think we'll go 1, 2, just the 2. Can we get these placed a little bit smarter? If we turn snapping back on for the mow, and go 1, 2. Still only 2, but they look a little bit nicer in terms of their location. So we'll take that. Oh, look, we've got some oats this year. It's going to be good. Looking forward to having those. We've run out of spaces for people to move into, though. We've been snoozing, getting on with other things, and we've missed that. Let's get ourselves a second horse now as well. Still really on the edge with food. I'm guessing the mushrooms are just about sating appetites. Let's unassign one of the families from the trading post and send them to work at the forager's hut so we can make use of all of those mushrooms. And we've actually got a reasonable number of fish back in the shoal, so why don't we unassign our saw pit temporarily and send them to work at the lovely fisherman's post, and we'll finally make use of that seasonal hiring. We'll do the same over here to allow 2 workers in the spring, summer, maybe only 1 in the autumn, because I'm imagining the deposit will be well and truly worked down by then, and none for the winter because you don't need anyone there during that time, and hopefully that'll provide us a little bit more food. So maybe we shouldn't be too keen on getting even more families moved in. Can we afford to buy some vegetables? We can. Let's get some carrots for that large burgage there. And oats are going to be a good source of food for us fairly early on here as well. So that is encouraging. It would be good to have a malt house ready to start processing some of the goods that come out. But we are short on the rubble stone we'd need to make that happen. So just as soon as we have another family available, send them to go and work at the quarry wouldn't be a bad idea. In fact, we might take someone from the mining pit, send them in. At the trading post, let's stop trading away our iron ore. Oh dear. Come on, game. Save game, absolutely doing me one there. So we'll go for no trade on the iron ore. Instead, we'll try to start turning it into some lovely iron ingots again. Need a few more families to start making that happen. Everything needs families, doesn't it? In the meantime, I guess what we could do is plan out the rest of the mines here, couldn't we? So, where am I looking? We're going to go and get a mining pit. And maybe again, I think maybe 3 is going to be ample for this. So 2, and then a third one up here. Lovely, and then we'll kind of connect all these in together. I would like to see if I can get this looking a bit more organic. Normally my mines are very regimented, and it's not always what Manor Lords is about, is it? Sometimes it is, and I do love my very regimented builds where everything has to be in exactly the right place and it's all square and everything like that. But sometimes it's nice to do something a little bit different. So if we connect this in here, and then on the inside in here, I think we could probably get down some of the associated buildings. But we don't need that road all the way around there, do we? Take it around this side. We could even do this in aid of the slightly more organic theme we're going for. I like the idea, but didn't execute that one very well. How's that? Nearly there. Sure. And we'll need we've already got a storehouse and we've got a bloomery here. Could potentially get another couple of bloomeries tucked in here. I love the way that these cards pop up in order now. That's fantastic. They sort of all pop up over time. So we'll fill this space up then with bloomeries. So one there. We delete this road. We get another one in here. We can, so we get one there, and then another one in there. Kind of like that, so that's going to be our little iron camp area. 79 coins, what are we going to spend those goodies on? I think we could probably do with another oxen, couldn't we? We'll order in another horse, because I've clicked the wrong button. Gosh, damn it. Yeah, well. And then we'll get down a couple of hitching posts. We've got these over here, haven't we? Yeah, it's fine. We'll set up the priority of those to make sure they do indeed get constructed. Food seems to be recovering a little bit now. We know we've had a few harvests, and the carrots over here are certainly going to be helping out as well as in that one. So that's all to the good. We're back down on money anyway, but that's not to say we can't go ahead and get some of these upgrades done, although I'm guessing we've just run out of planks. We have indeed. We've got another family that has moved in, so we'll send them to work at the saw pit. And what do we have waiting for us over here? Well, it's summer. How long until harvest? We have 69 days. Let's just go into here and go to seasonal hiring. And let's say in the summer we only need 2 workers. Do 4 for spring and none for the winter. That's going to free up a few families, albeit only for the time being, but they can go and help with construction. So not a complete waste of time for them, as the rains start to fall once again. But look at that. I'm quite happy with the little start we've got in here. I know I keep saying that, but I do love the crop variety as well. Look at all the different colours we've got here. So many hues of good old food. Good old food. And so many types of food now as well. I can't make cheese. We didn't make cheese in our previous playthrough. Very keen to make sure that happens this time. 128 coinage. I think we ought to invest a little bit in our future, which is going to be apples. 281. No, okay. Very well. We'll buy some goats. That too is an investment in our future because we're going to need leather and such. And then over here we'll get another 2. Yeah, we could go some apiaries. Yeah, we'll go for some apiaries. We'll go for 1 apiary. Still low on the old plank front. But the thought being we could give ourselves a little bit of a boost over here in terms of fertility. Now we've got a bit more food, we could start to consider further expansion with our dwellings, our burgage plots. We've got the storehouse down here. Now we've got a bit of stone coming in. We should be able to build ourselves the granary and storehouse in here that we talked about earlier for general supply. So we'll get those in there, and then maybe we'll copy that over here. So storehouse and granary here once we have enough goods. Put a little road out like this. Okay, and then we'll see about putting some more baggages in this space here, shall we? So we'll start once again as per usual. A couple of small ones, and we'll go for a larger one. A couple of smaller ones. Following the curve round here. Larger one. Which I think we're probably going to put some trees in. Need to get those apples. I'm desperate to make cider as well this time. Love a bit of cider. And again, that's going to make for a nice orchard potentially. And to maintain the area we have over here, not go over the mushrooms, let's see about getting ourselves down a couple of foresters' huts with the idea that they can replant this area in future. Plenty more upgrades to be made, and money has come in again, so we'll come down, we'll get our next apiary, and then we get a couple of chickens. That all sounds rather good to me. Got just enough money left over to order ourselves up another ox. Let's up the limit we've got on our saw pit so we can make a few more planks. Let's go to advanced. We'll go to 100. Are we a little short on logs, timber? No, we've got 25. I think it probably is just the fact that we don't have a dedicated horse for the saw pit. We might relocate the saw pit to the new logging location, actually. We go to pop this down just here and build a little road connecting those. And I think we'll delete the logging camp now. A bit of a despawn there. A little bit of a drought going on here, but hopefully with the 6 months of food we've got stored up, there shouldn't be too much of a problem. Let's unassign some families from the fisherman's hut because there's nothing else to gather there. There are still some mushrooms to be gathered, so I'll leave the 2 assigned in there at present. We'll need to make sure that we get the saw pit built and a family working there pretty soon. How far off with this harvest? We must be nearly there, mustn't we? Just 20 days now. The crop is looking pretty dire since we've had that drought. At least we're still going to get some oats out of it, even if we don't get much else. 1 wheat and 3 rye hardly seems worth it, does it? So maybe that's something we will not be doing again in future. We'll have to wait and see. I'd like to get a family in the bloomery, so we shall do so. Get you in there. We should be making a bit of a stockpile now of iron. Yeah, 61 iron ore, so we can start turning that into iron. And in turn, we'll want to turn it into other goodies. So with that in mind, once we've got a few planks, why don't we send one of these burgish plots will turn into a smithy, and the other one will turn into a joiner's, and then before you know it, we'll have ourselves a construction yard. An exciting prospect for sure. Right, that's being constructed, so we've got a family working at the saw pit. 200 influence, we should rather get ourselves a manor at some point, shouldn't we? Administration. Don't have the planks or the stones. Well, hopefully one day before too long, and actually something else we need to do is get another family working at the granary and storehouse, don't we? Because it's, I imagine, dire straits. Yes, it is. We'll assign 2 families, and I think we might as well do the families over here in the new area. And then we're going to unassign them instantly because we didn't think to put down a market stall. And then we're going to come in here. We're going to grab the market stall from the correct tab, just like so. And find a couple of spots to put a few little stalls in. Like so. Then give them their workers back and they can do stuff locally. And hopefully that'll tide us over. Because we are then out of workers. So we'll have to drag someone out of somewhere. Oh no, family just moved in, so we're okay. And look! Buildings require maintenance. Well, just in the nick of time. Hopefully we'll be able to start using some of the iron we're now producing. Got 7 glorious slabs. And we'll look to make some tools to keep the mines active. Let's assign... We've got a permanent assignment over here for livestock. We don't. We'll do that now. It needs maintenance itself. That is definitely lowering the yield. Hopefully we can get something out of it. What's everyone here doing? Waiting, going home, praying. Okay. Very well. We're going to demolish that. We're going to build a new one. Because as you know, if something needs maintenance and you can't afford to repair it, what you could definitely do instead is just build a new one. Yeah, it's probably a bit of a cheeky way of getting around the problem, but still, it's a way around the problem and I'll take it. New baggages are being thrown up, so you're going to be for vegetables. You two will probably be for orchards, as we discussed earlier. Ooh, we can afford some apples. Let's get some apples. Very keen to get this planted as early on as we possibly can. All the lovely carrots, or the tops of the carrots rather. I know you can see the carrots. Lovely stuff. Reasonable harvest in there. Not making the best use of space in this berg. This may end up being a orchard at some point if we can't up the harvest of that. We haven't moved on to the island peninsula at all yet. We're still working on the mainland. But there's enough to be doing for sure. Quite happy with the little fields here that you walk through. As you jump off the edge of the bridge here and you're like, da da da, just going to walk to this new village. Ah! And you break a leg. You're just walking up here through the lovely fields. You've got the church on your left, which is soon to be a monastery, hopefully. And across here, you've got the main village, walking on the King's Road. And maybe that would be a good spot to put the manor over here. Nope, different region. Oh well. Maybe we'll put it at the top of the hill here or something, overlooking the forest we're going to keep. Or we could put it actually on here. Yes, we could put the manor on here, couldn't we? A manor on a little peninsula, and we could have walls that go across. You have to walk through gates if you're going across the river. Oh, I like that idea a lot. That's definitely something we're going to look to do. Ideas, they're forming. They're forming and they're sticking around. We'll get some planks. Once we've got some planks, we will look to progress a little bit further. In the meantime, make yourselves a cup of tea, everyone. Do keep hydrated. Well, the harvest is absolutely cracking on. We have indeed got ourselves a few planks now, even if it does require maintenance once again, and we really need to get on here, don't we? So let's get down here and see if we can't build ourselves... Oh, come on. Not level too low. That's no good. Right, you shall have to be our blacksmith's workshop. We'll get you upgraded, ready to become something else for us that's a goodie. Probably the joinery as we discussed, and we've got a few crops that have finally come out of the ground. We are going to need to get some oxen assigned here eventually, but for the time being we can manage with a bit of manual labour on the plough, so that's not too much of a problem. How are we doing for fuel? Down to 2 months. Okay, that's fine. What we can do then is go over to the trade area, and we'll actually decrease the number of people working here by 1 to match the number of horses. We'll go over to 2 commodities, and we're going to stop exporting charcoal. Well, I suppose we could continue exporting charcoal, but we need maybe 300 surplus, so we don't run out over the winter period. Now we have a slightly larger population. And let's get in here. We want to be making tools at a rate of knots, my friend. And then after that, I suppose we could do with a few spears. And we want to make, let's say, 100 tools. And we'll follow that up with 100 spears. Splendid. And to make spears, let's go in here. So iron slabs for spears, we need a surplus of, say, 50 before we start making any. So we've always got enough to make ourselves some tools. So we should be making a few of those shortly. Order another ox for there, and then consider getting a family working at one of the hitching posts here. I'll get these upgraded to stables, actually, because we are running into that missing ox guide once again. Got one family working there. Maybe we'll get a family working in here. Double check the market stalls. Need another granary worker. We'll do that here and upgrade you. More upgrades to serve across here. Now we have a reasonable number of planks, although not a particularly deep breadth of them, I must reiterate. We do need more. We need more planks. I like the little area we've set up over here. I think that's going to look pretty cool. We'll have to keep an eye on the deposit there. We've got 960 on the surface still, so we don't need to worry too much about delving deep for the moment. And I'm not going to activate the storehouse either until we've got a much deeper breadth of workforce. We could do with these supplies being moved on, couldn't we? So we could build something else there. A bit of a weird road going on here as well. Can we get rid of that? Oh, we can, but it sort of made everything even weirder. Well, never mind. It's not causing anyone any problems. Do we have a reasonable amount of oat? Looks like we've eaten it all, I presume. Unless it's still oat sheaves. It's still oat sheaves. So, where does that get turned into oats? At the farmhouse, as it is indeed currently being done. Lovely. No mushrooms to be gathered. There's no one at the mushroom hut anyway, so that's fine. Let's set up a working area for our wonderful forest huts. So we'll set those there, and just as soon as we have families free, we'll go actually into the assignment here, and we'll put one for each of those. Running out of fuel. Right. Did we ever reassign people to the Woodcutter's Lodge? What did I do with the Woodcutter's Lodge? Is it still over here? It is. Let's relocate this over here. They may also have had a bit of a problem with tools themselves, but they should have them now. So we'll relocate it here so they're closer to a forested area, and hopefully that'll solve the problem. We might then do the same and take the charcoal kiln and install that over on this side as well, so it's all nice and close to each other. And we'll just put this here opposite that road, and we'll just connect this across here. Lovely stuff. Winter once again, still missing ox guides. How many people do we need working at these stables? My goodness. So many people. Get ourselves another ox then, and we'll assign yet another family to there. I'd love to get a bit more stone coming out of the ground. 1 month on fuel. In the winter time as well. What's the population we're up to? We are up to 78. Total population. Quite quaint, but you know. People are people, and we do like to have lots of people. One family working at the log camp. Maybe let's get that up to 2. And we'll get 2 families in the woodcutter's lodge. And 1 at the charcoal thing, although maybe as an emergency measure we'll get 3 and 2. And that's actually something we could change in the seasonal management, couldn't we? So we could go ahead and have fewer folk working there during the months that we have the farm active, for example. And more during the winter when they can be made use of, where they wouldn't otherwise be able to ply their trade. Get an upgrade in there. We're doing okay for money. Get some quinces, but again, I really want to get us some apples to make some good old cider. You in here, we should now make you into a joiner's workshop. That is going to decrease the workforce slightly. We do still have plenty of spots for people to be moving into, though, over here. I'd like to get some cabbages, because we haven't got any of those to date. And we'll go for orchards in the other 2 here as well. So I suppose we could go for a bit more of a variety. We don't just have to have apples, do we? And then we'll get a few animal pens in here, ready for us to buy a combination of goats and, of course, some lovely piggies. Splendid shenanigans. The settlement, it grows. We're coming out of the winter and into February, and shortly March. It's the 20th of February, and look at the gorgeous crops. I love the way that the oats look early in the year. Well, we've got 25 there, 38 here, so I think we'll have enough oats to start doing a little bit of animal keeping, should we get that far. To that end, we just want to keep upgrading everything. We've got some gears being made over here, and I do believe we now have enough to, indeed, make a construction yard. Where should we put this? Well, I guess we're largely going to be expanding across the river into this area. So I wonder if we should put the construction yard on the island, actually. That might be a good idea. That'll pretty much evenly reach everywhere. So if we put the construction yard just maybe on top of this hill. How about just here? Just here, with a little road connecting down like so. Get that curve just right. Splendid stuff. So we'll get the construction yard there. We have all of our houses finished over here now, I believe. Indeed, we've got a little bit of money coming in. I've gone into the trading post, and I've set an export for wooden parts once we get over 30. So once we have an excess of that, we'll be able to start selling those. Added a few properties over here in the hopes we can get a few more workers in the quarries or potentially at the stonemason station so we can start dressing some stone. And I was also starting to think that we were going to need some clay if we have some roof tiles. There's some clay over here. So we're going to go and pop down ourselves a mining bit just here. And that way we'll be able to get a little bit of clay when we have a spare worker. Oh dear, we've quite run out of unassigned families. I suppose that's our rotation? Our seasonal hiring kicking in, indeed. So whom might we spare from work? Or do we just wait for someone to move in? We could just wait for someone to move in. I'll tell you what, actually, we don't need this many workers at this time of year, do we? Let's down the number of workers at the farmhouse to 2, because actually they're not harvesting for 164 days. So as long as they're done with last year, probably actually only need maybe 1 person in spring, just to show there is someone working in a field that, you know, if there's something that needs to, I can get people out there. Not getting a lot of barley from this, are we? But there's plenty of oats and a little bit of wheat. Bit of rye in there. The rye harvest does seem to be much better. It's a bigger field, though. We'll have to wait and see how that works out. I mean, down here we've got our pallet, so 27% fertility left there for oats. This year it's 12% for the second year. It was 12% for barley. Okay, and you're 36 and 3 and 1. These actually look better. No, you definitely don't. Yes, we'll have to keep an eye on that. But again, you get a proper fallow year, don't you? We shall wait and discover what the optimal situation is for them. Have we built that clay pit? We have not. There's plenty else going on, such as the construction of our construction yard. Indeed, market stalls are looking okay, I believe, at present. Right, so we're not too desperate on those. I'd like to start buying in some more animals over here, but I'm a bit shy on spending too much money. We've also got a few apples planted up already, but it wouldn't hurt to have a few more, and that is not a cheap commodity, so we will have to wait on that. What are we going to put here? Well, food-wise, we could probably do with a bit more milk, so we're going to go ahead and get some animal pens, and we'll probably put some goats in there. Honey is obviously something we also want to keep making sure we're making a lot of, because we could make lovely mead from that these days, but we've only got 2, so something else we'll want to continue to expand. There's so much to do now in the updated version of Manor Lords, so many things to expand to produce, to make sure we're doing. Talking of making sure we're doing stuff, as we've got a few families available for construction purposes, is the installation of a lime kiln. Thus, we shall be able to turn some stone into mortar and build gorgeous constructions, such as our upgraded church. Where are we going to ensconce this little lad? Can you get in here? We'll put you here. Sure. And then we'll have a little road connecting you through to the stone camps thusly. Wonderful stuff. How interesting. Do we have a little road coming around the back of here as well? Sure. Why not, you know? Oh, look. Plenty of planting going on now that the winter has passed. We're also making some shields now, so we'll be able to sell those. We should probably form the militia, shouldn't we? We'll get you boys together. No weapons. That's okay. I believe we might still get raiders occasionally, but we are on the large town goal, so that is what we're aiming for as opposed to too much combat this time around. So, we have the planks. We don't have anything else. We're starting to gather a little bit of clay, and of course that clay shall need to be turned into roof tiles. So we'll get ourselves a clay furnace, and I think we'll house this somewhere over here in what is swiftly becoming the industrial quarter. And let's turn off snapping and see if we can't pop it just in here on the corner. Lovely, and we'll connect that road up there. It would be nice to get some of these dedicated storehouses activated at some point, but we'll leave it for now because we do not have the surplus of peoples. Indeed. It would be nice to get someone working at the lime kiln when it's constructed though, but construction is pretty slow at the moment. Ah, construction yard. Let's assign a family there and assign it an ox. And we're seeing there that we definitely need to hire in some more oxen, don't we? How many do we have? Do we only have 2? My goodness, we've only got 5, but quite a few are assigned to our lovely farmhouse. We'll order in another ox, and we'll fly on over here to the construction yard. And let's see about getting a few hitching posts in the locale, so they have somewhere to store their oxen, although I think they maybe can store them themselves. I'm not sure. In any case, I think we'll get a few of these down just in case. In any case, just in case. Makes so much sense, typical. I love how much these can store. I absolutely love. I mean, what's the capacity? Can I store like 300? No, 80. Are these all maxed out? Oh, that's not maxed out. That is as many logs as we can store, though. Can I put like 200 planks? I can. Can I put like 200 dressed stone? I can. Can I put like 200 rubble? I can. Can I put like 200 mortar? I can. Okay, I'm getting the idea. What is the maximum storage capacity then? Does it say? Oh, it does. Generic storage 800. Okay, and timber is separate at 80. So 2, 4, 6. Okay. I think maybe it was set at 100 for a reason. That's cool though, because you could 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. Yes, you could not store iron parts, for example, here. Oh, you could have specialized construction yards for different purposes. You could have a construction yard purely led over to stone. And then if you're building a massive castle, you could have a construction yard just filled with stone. Oh, finally. If anyone of you watched that wonderful little long play I did, I'd say little, where I did a Roman-style settlement. And we had to put a load of logging camps all the way around the outside to build the wall. We could actually use these as construction camps outside of major construction projects as preparation. So many possibilities. I love it. I love it! Only at +1 monthly migration, it would be nice if we could tick that up. And I suspect the way we're going to do that is by getting ourselves a little bit of alcohol at some juncture. Where are we? Where am I? Where am I? Lime kiln, why aren't you done yet? We finished over here? Still going. Let's assign a second family to the construction yard. We have 3 available spaces in which people can move in. I'm wondering if we put a couple of houses up next to the construction yard and we have construction row where we house all of our construction workers. We can have up to 5 families at the construction yard. So I think we ought to have 5 houses next door to the construction yard. And that will minimize the amount of walking they have to do, which I'm sure they will appreciate. I'll just snap up to them, that's fine. And we don't need to make your gardens any larger than they need be. Let's do that there then. Fantastic, so that'll be construction row. They will of course need a few amenities. So we'll put down a well, thusly, and we'll put down a granary, thusly. He says, if it's not too steep. There, and a storehouse, which we will put there. And then between the two, a lovely little market stall. How about that? Looks wonderful. Shape's a bit odd. What if I do... Can I get more in if I do that? Nope, it's fine. That is enough anyway. So we'll get that down there. And hopefully this will allow us to have... Oh, look how fast the construction is, because they're right next to the construction yard. Oh, yes. Let's get these upgraded to stables, and we'll order in another ox as well, because we don't have a livestock trading post at the moment, so we want to take advantage of that whenever we can. 77 days till the harvest. Mining pit still to be constructed. And is the same true of our lime kiln? No, that is done. We're going to assign a family to the lime kiln then, and we'll see if we can't make a reasonable amount of mortar. We can use said mortar to help us in the upgrade of our wooden church. Something else we haven't got down yet is a manor, but I think we'll wait for the construction yard to gather a reasonable number of resources before we go ahead and start building that, because that way everything's local and nearby to where we will eventually start construction of the manor. And I'm thinking construction of the manor will be at the top of this hill here. So one of the kind of the higher points of the little peninsula we have. What a gorgeous little area this is. I love this map. I can't wait till we do some other things in this map, like build up on the ridges, etc. Don't think that'll be in this particular rambling long play, but in the future for sure. Oh, we just don't have enough people, do we? Progress must be made, people. Ooh, talking of progress, plenty of upgrades to be had. Well, I suppose I could piddle on over here and make some upgrades. We'll order in a couple of oats while we're over here as well, because we have abundances. We'll avoid buying you any vegetables, because we're okay on food for the moment. So we will see if we can hold out to when we can get something a little more interesting, such as a carrot. A carrot, I say. A few pigs in here as well, and that's us spent on the money front. Would be good to get some more trade going. I do believe, hopefully, yeah, we're just probably starting to export wooden parts. Let's take a look at our exports. Indeed, we have started making a little bit from those. And how are we doing for iron production? 72 iron slabs. It would be nice if we could get someone lent over to making iron parts. How are we doing over here? So you're making tools followed by spears. How are we doing for spears then? We are just starting to make them. Did we set up an export on spears? Let's double check, shall we? Not just yet. They're worth 3 each. How much are metal parts worth? Iron parts, sorry. Oh, they're worth 3 as well. Okay. Well, in that case, it doesn't really matter what we're making of them, so we might as well let them continue making spears, and then we'll set up a trade to export spears over a certain number. So I think over 36 we will export them. And we'll have to remember to go in there and buy that trade once we have enough monies. Thank you, save. How are we doing here? No progress. Oh, no, we've got some mortar at least. I wonder if now we have a bit of mortar, how much do we have stored up already? They do make it pretty quickly. We have... Is it under crafting materials? It's under probably construction, isn't it? 24 mortar. Let that build up a little bit more. I was going to say we could reassign that family to work at a stonecutter's camp instead. But you know, we do have a worker or 2 free. So let's get a family in a stone-based station and see if we can't start effecting some work there. And with all the stone we're gathering as well, it wouldn't be a terrible idea for us to come in here and see if we can't do a couple of upgrades to our wells to make sure we have the capacity within our water network. That is, if I can find any wells. Let me guess you don't have water access over here. You do? That's nice. Very unusual of me to think about you that much. I usually forget water, as we all know. For years at a time. Here's one. We'll upgrade you. Are you the only one? Surely not. No. Where else could we plonk one, if that is the case? Suppose we could put one in here, couldn't we? And there's plenty of water over here. Why don't we have one here somewhere? Just there. Save people having to walk quite so far for their water. And over here, we have 5 available accommodation spaces, and those are all over here. And I can't wait to have people living here and working at the construction yard. That percentage that we were just seeing there, is that how full it is? How prepared they are? Gosh, they're all transporting at the moment, aren't they? Order another ox. Clink. And could probably afford to assign a second ox to them now as well. Must be nearly there on the harvest, just 22 days to go on there. Taking a lovely relaxed pace to this one, aren't we? We'll upgrade both of those so they're ready, and we'll also pop that well upgrade too. I imagine we finally finished construction of the mining bit, so we'll get one family starting to extract a little bit of clay, and hopefully the construction deficit and only having one available free worker will be made up by the fact we've got 2 people at the construction yard, though they are at the moment mostly dealing with bringing in resources. We're nearly ready to start exporting spears. We're only at 37 currency though, so it's going to be a second before we can actually start exporting them. 36 wooden parts, so there we go. I imagine that was a sale of wooden parts. Might need to set up a second joinery at some point as well. Dedicated storehouse down here for our what is turning out to be our production area wouldn't be a bad shout either. So we'll go ahead and pop down a storage yard. What? Sure. Just there. Connect it up to the road. Upgrade that well. And we'll enable them to store metal parts and planks, etc. Everything that's needed for the joiner shop and the blacksmith. Where are we going to do our brewing when we eventually get someone set up for that? We could do that over here somewhere. We have a brewing quarter where we have everything brought in. Well, obviously the fields are down here. Where do we put our malt house? I don't recall. Did we build a malt house? Do we have malt? We do not have malt. I suspect then we don't have a malt house. But we've got a bit of space around the farm here, don't we? This potentially could be a place to do it. We've got a granary next to the storehouse. I don't think we ever got that far. Oh, not enough goods. What are we short of? We've got logs. Just need, we're out of rubble stone. Good gracious. What we should do in that case is slide on over to the lime kiln. Stop all work here because we've got enough mortar to carry us for the time being, and we should have set up a limit on the amount of rubble stone they can use. Usually I don't bother because there's so much of it when you're mining your own materials. But it's fairly early on in the playthrough, and therefore we do not have absolutely loads. How are we doing on dress stone? 24 of the stuff. We're probably almost there for the church, aren't we? For the first level. Just need those roof tiles. How much clay do we have stored away? Just 7 for the time being. Okay, we're through to September. The harvest is happening though. Splendid. It's raining, that's not great. We have got 4 families at the farmhouse. I wonder if we ought to assign another one. Just to make sure we get as many of those goods inside as possible. And hopefully we've got a fair number of oats. Nothing brought in just yet. Oh, they're starting to bring it in now. Yes, 28 oat sheaves, and hopefully they'll be turning that into some animal feed. But of course they won't be, because that is done by the livestock farm, is it? Is it? Is it? I don't recall. Yes, the livestock farm, so we're going to need to build one of those. In the meantime, let's go through and double check our granaries. We don't want them sending out oats to the general public. Terrible waste of food. It needs to be given to the animals. Hello, granaries. You there. You are not to carry. Where are you? You can carry animal feed. It's fine. Is it oat sheaves? Is that what can be eaten by people? No, oats. You are not to carry oats at your establishment. Probably going to need a few more families working in the supply sector. So that's one granary. There's one over here as well. You're not to stock oats. And we'll make sure that we set that up for any new granary we build as well. Such as the one over on the island. Down here. Ooh, we've got our first family move in. So we can't do it just yet because it's under construction to the large. Let's unassign both families from the construction yard. And we'll start assigning the families from this area one by one as they move in. And it's just occurred to me, we'll need a few families to work at the local supply chain, won't we? So a few more houses along here, if we can fit them in with the steepness, wouldn't be a bad idea. Didn't think it would let me do that, it did look rather steep. Can I get any in along here? Possibly not. Okay, what about continuing up along here then? Oh yes, I can. Let's make that look a little more elegant, shall we? So in there... Ooh, I like that quite a lot. Not the most efficient use of space. Can we squeeze it down just a little further? And still get 4 dwellings? We can. Okay, we'll build those there, and that will allow us to have a small contingent of families working at the granary and storehouse over here. And we'll try and keep an eye on when people move in so we can assign more families to work over here. In the meantime... I just didn't know what that was for a second then, but obviously the cosmetic symbol is new. Oh, fields are rotated. Don't think we lost anything. It's good. So we'll go over to farming. And let's get ourselves a livestock farm. And we'll pop this down in here near where the farmhouse is and connect it up to the roads. Let's delete those and make that look a little bit nicer with the curve. Sure. And a granary in here for the storage of foods, etc. for animals, or is that unnecessary? We're going to store quite a lot of the livestock farm, aren't we, in all fairness? Yeah, we'll take it straight from the farmhouse to the livestock farm. Ooh, actually, maybe it would make sense to have a granary once we get enough stone again. Let's get another family working at a quarry, see if we can't speed that up a little bit. I'm wondering if it's worth us going around as well to the other granaries and saying they're not allowed to store any oat products of any kind. Reason being that if we disallow the sheaves and we disallow animal feed, then we can store it all centrally without it being distributed to other parts of the kingdom where it is not needed, and then thusly having to transport it all the way back. And have we built over here yet? Nope. Oh dear, lots of construction to be done. Oh, another family's moved in. Perfect. You can go and work at the construction yard. And we'll just keep moving in this general direction. I'm going to top up my tea, generally watch over how we're getting on, wait for a few people to move in over here, assign a few more people to the construction yard, and hopefully we can make a little bit of progress and start speeding up just a tad, so that when we come out on the other side of winter, we're on the right foot to get the church upgraded and otherwise move forward. See you in a second. Once again, the thaw is upon us and we've been hard at work, so the construction yard... Ooh, we'll just buy ourselves another box. Construction yard is now at 5 workers, and look at that, we've got 80 logs stored away, and the generic storage is filling up with other goodies. We've got a worker finally at this granary, still yet to get someone at the storehouse, but quite a few people have moved in to Construction Row, which I've also decided to make Honey Row. So everyone along here so far has been set up with a row extension to produce some lovely honey with some beehives. We'll do that to the last 2 here as well to produce honey, and which will be stored at the granary. And I think the last one over here we might make into a brewery so we can make some lovely mead from this location. Now the family's moved in, we're going to send them to work at the storehouse, and we're starting to address that supply chain issue with the storehouse and granary supply. Wonderful, and of course, we shall grant you honey. We've also started exporting some lovely spears now, and thus money is starting to come in a little bit more readily. What we're going to do now that we're doing that is come in and make sure we're no longer exporting charcoal, so we can keep it for ourselves and not waste our resources. Over here, of course, we have our lovely forestry workers. We've got a few spare families for once, so I think we're going to assign a family to this forester hut here as well. Of course, we need to go into seasonal hiring and say you're not to work in the winter at all, just like your neighbour there. Charcoal kiln is down to 1 worker in the season as well, and I've set up the mining pit for the clay to only operate during winter. So what are we thinking? Got crops coming up once again. Let's get a family working at the livestock trading post. You see, I had someone here during the winter, and they've been making a whole bunch of animal feed. So now we've got a livestock farm, we can go ahead and get ourselves a livestock trading post in the hopes that we can start buying in some wonderful cows and sheep. And I think we'll pop this just opposite our other trading post, shall we? You might be able to tell as well, I've had a little play with the camera settings to see if we can't smoothen things up a little bit for you guys. I know sometimes my camera movement can be a bit jarring, so hopefully this will make for a little improvement in that area. I get a bit excited with my camera work sometimes. I'm spinning around like no one's business, so I'm hoping that this will contain me just a little bit. Fantastic. Livestock trading post is under construction. I can't wait to get some livestock. With that in mind, we should probably have a pasture of some description, shouldn't we? So we get farming, and we'll see if we can't get down a little pasture in this central space here, which would seem good to me. So we'll see if we can't fill it right up, and that's going to give us space for 10 animals. Not the best, but not the worst. What about putting some in around here as well? Again, not the best. Only 4 in that space. It does seem pasture space has been heavily updated, hasn't it? Heavily updated. Well, maybe we'll get some around here as well. Let's put a little road that follows the river here. And then we can use this space for some lovely pasturing. Okay, and maybe we'll split this off up here. Interesting looking road, but I don't mind it at all. And we'll get down a pasture to see if we can't fill this space entirely. Let's put a little road around here, even if temporarily. See if we can get this set up correctly. Gosh, the camera really does keep spinning, doesn't it? Okay, down to there. What's that given us? 34. I think that's fantastic. And what else do we have to provide? Well, it's time to get our first church upgrade. So let's see if we can't get that underway. You guys never got back to me in the last video. Has the level 2 church changed at all? I think the construction process has changed, because I don't remember all of these things going on during the construction. But I don't know if the actual building itself has changed as well. I'm excited to see how quickly this is going to take place, actually, now that we have the construction yard not too far away on the peninsula. So I imagine everyone over here, if I can click on it, is hard at work building the church. Yeah, it looks like a lot of people are transporting. Have we had any deliveries via log cart? That's another interesting thing. Love how they jump on and off that ramp there. Hopefully that's fixed before too long. Not seeing any log carts just yet. Just regular people's carrying stuff. Not the most efficient use of their abilities, I wouldn't have said. We'll drop another ox. We've got 3 livestock assigned to them, although it's saying 0 for 0 there. What is that suggesting? We don't need to actually purchase anything for them, do we? Anyway. Upgrades to be had over here, so we shall make that happen. Someone's moved in here. We're going to assign you to work at the granary here as well. And we'll get you a lovely upgrade, by which I mean an apiary. And what else is everyone lacking here that they're not upgrading instantly? Animal produce and meats. I imagine we're just a bit short on that in general. Well, at the end there is going to be our brewery anyway. How's church coming on? Oh, it's going along nicely. Fantastic. I do love... I mean, the construction is definitely different. There was never a crane in there before, was there? I'm not going mad, am I? I think it's new. Huzzah! And our first level 2 church constructed on this fine Indschlau map, region on this map. So for the next upgrade, we just need a few more roof tiles. So in the next winter, when we have a few spare people working at the clay pit and also at the furnace, down here somewhere, we'll be able to get the tiles we need to get our first level 3 church. Now, I did say we were going to build our manor, didn't I? So we have our construction yard here now filled with goods. So let's go to administration and see if we can't administer a manor on the little mound here, as we discussed. Oh dear, game got a bit laggy there, didn't it? Pop that there. Give you a garrison tower next door and commit to that construction project. And then we just need to put a little road in. Curves gently, like so. To here. With a little flick into the road. Fantastic. So a lovely little meandering road down to the manor. To eventually be walled off, possibly with some farmland inside of it. This looks a little bit odd finished here, so why don't we continue this along the edge of the riverbank up to where we've set aside a little bit more space for farming. Have we got that livestock trading post? We do. Let's get a family working there. We're up to 411 on the old monies. So let's see if we can't get ourselves in some cows. Maybe we'll start with 6 cows. And what are we going to do for sheep? We'll also import 6 sheep, shall we? So we'll get those on the way. Obviously, there's already someone working at the livestock farm. We'll also come in here and buy ourselves some carrots, do we think? No cabbages yet. Let's get some cabbages for there. And anyone else along here we haven't purchased for? We will buy some apples for you. And we'll also get an expansion on because we're out of living space. Not really been paying attention to that, have I? Another pig for you. And we'll hold off on you till we have a little bit more money. Probably the same for you here because I'm just going to go apple mad and desperate to have large amounts of cider. Mana's coming up quite nicely. If we're out of space to move in, that means you're done. So we'll upgrade you. And we'll get you working as a meat factory. Sharpish. Let's upgrade these houses here if I can click on the right buttons, for goodness sake. And being next to the construction yard, that should happen in no time at all. Fandabbly dozily. Right. What are we thinking? I'm wondering how much honey we have. Probably not loads, actually, because it'll take all of this year to gather. We've got 15. So if we have a look here. Can I not view how it works? No? Anyway, I believe it's harvested. It builds up between spring and summer and is harvested in the autumn. So that's when everything will come through. Ooh, look at all the construction. Hello, oxen, delivering logs one at a time. Not quite sure what the settings are as to why they're not using the carts. There's a cart here, look. Is it just for delivering to the construction yard? Or can they use it to deliver to sites? So I've seen them deliver to sites. Where are you going with it? What are you doing? There was stuff on the back, I just couldn't see it. Okay. Well, it seems to be working to a degree anyway. So we could do with a few more ox guides. So what we'll do is over by the construction yard, we'll come in here and we'll assign a family to work at the stable while also ordering an additional oxen. And once again, we're having to think about where we're next going to expand in terms of our population. And ideally, where we can get a bit more food as well. So where shall we do it? Well, obviously we've got space up here. We could extend out this way. We could also extend not too much up the hill. That's where we're going to do most of our forestry, isn't it? It's a little bit round here. There is the island itself, and then of course we haven't decided anything on this side over here yet, so that is definitely a possibility. Manor is constructed. Let's get a 1% land tax, because that's not going to upset anyone, and we'll do the same with tithe, just so we've got a little bit ticking over and into the coffers. Very short of money. I imagine that means we've bought ourselves a couple of animals. Where are my beautiful animals? Hello? Anyone? I know you're an ox. Never mind. There's some people just wandering around the pasture. Where are my animals? You spent all my money. I expect to see cows. Do I have cows? Allegedly, I have 3 cows. I suppose they're just not here yet. What is going on over here? Oh dear. I thought we were past these troubles. Oxen-based shenanigans. Well, they seem to have sorted themselves out at the very least. I suppose that's something. Right. Ooh. We never got you going, did we? What do you do? You're a farmer. That's because that's seasonal hiring malark, isn't it? Actually going to reassign you to work at a quarry, my friend. And your neighbour is already a stonemason, so that's fine. Can't afford to buy you any goodies at the moment, but I will give you an upgrade. Have we got that upgrade done over here yet? Can we set you up as a brewery? You can indeed. Going to reduce the number of workers by 1, but that's okay. So we'll get the brewery set up, and then we'll make sure to set the limits over there so we can start making some beautiful mead. Just an abandoned docks there. Hopefully someone comes and collects that. Inconclusive so far on the fields. I mean, well, having said that, that's saying 92% oats next year. Now we've had a fallow year, and 42% with the barley. There's only 1% left of fertility here with this barley. Then it's fallow over here. Saying 99% fertility for the oats next year there. 47% for rye. 64%. Okay. Looks like we might not need to leave fallow years in between, so we might be able to increase the amount of goods we're getting from those fields down there potentially. Should assign someone actually to work at the church so we can deal with maintenance, and we'll change the bell as well. Fantastical. Right, expansion. Yes. Well, food-wise, we're doing okay. We can maybe do with a few extra vegetables, and we can always do with more orchard space. And I wouldn't mind moving into another farmed area. We have got the kind of other side of the industrial district here. So I wonder if we start filling this space up a little bit. Let's take a road across here like that. Actually, maybe let's come a little bit further in. Like that there. Put a little switch back in here. And then this might provide us somewhere to get ourselves our granary and our storehouse. Oh, slots in nicely there, doesn't it? So granary and storehouse for this area, along with some water, which we can pop just in here. And a market stall, which we can squeeze in here. Say squeeze, masses of space. Then accommodation-wise, how do we want to set all of this up? I think we stick to our usual configuration for the most part. We do a number of small and then a larger behind. Now, we are going to need plenty of small dwellings, especially in the latest update, because there's a lot you can do with them. You know, you've got your honey production, you've got your brewers, you've got everything. The cheese people eventually. I've still not done anything with cheese, my goodness. It's absolutely abhorrent. I love cheese. Absolutely love cheese. Okay, so... am I happy with that? I don't think I am. Let's take that like there. Sure. And then can we squeeze someone in here? We can. We'll put a little road just there. And then leave a space and do a couple more smalls. Small borges. Like that. Put this here. Go up to there. Go across like that. Wonderful. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, yes. That's what I'm thinking. And leave a bit of a space. Do a couple of small ones here. If we can, without interfering too much, although we want to get the next large one. Okay, yeah, we could do that. And then fill out a bit of space here. Ooh, do we have two? Yeah, quite like the idea of going for two. Can I do that? Ooh, I can. Lovely stuff. Absolutely cramming them in here. Then I think probably a couple of small ones in here. Can we get another one in here? Don't think it'll be usable space, will it? No. That's fine. Oh, we can actually get a mortgage. But it wouldn't have any extensions, so there's not much point in my opinion. And then another couple of smalls. Start a little bit closer down here. Okay. Just like so. Larger one in behind. Do we go mega? We could do, but I don't think there's much point. Well, we do. Why don't we do that? Oh, decisions. We'll do that. Make that into an orchard, that one. What is that? It's abhorrent. We could just reduce the number in here, couldn't we? Yeah, that'll fix that. And then maybe just these to finish. One at the end could do with an extension at the back. What if I did this and reduced them by one? Hello? Where am I going? Here. Sure. Right. A whole bunch of expansion going on across here. Then look how fast the construction happens when you've got the construction yard. I love it. I love it. All these people are going to need supplying, so let's make sure to get the granary and storehouse supply chains set up as quickly as possible. So we'll get the large boy there, and we only need to have commodities. Only the clothes, charcoal, and shoes now at the storehouses, I believe, because everything else, pretty much, apart from dedicated stores, can be stored at the construction yards. I don't need to store tools, etc. there anymore, I don't think. Farming-wise then, let's get up our next farmhouse, ready for the installation of our next facilities. Probably just the one farmhouse for this area is going to be enough as well. And then we'll continue a road along the edge here, as far as we got last time. Trying to be respectful of the terrain, so we don't end up with a road that's dropping right off a cliff. That all looks fairly level there, doesn't it? So we'll come across here. Maybe as far as there for now. Yes, because it's leaving our region after that. Now, a little birdie told me, thank you very much, commenter, for this. There is wheat, barley, spell, by hazard elevation. I'm sure if we select pasture, I thought there was an overlay for where you can have livestock. Is it not? Is it automatic? Is it automatic? It all looks fine up here. I wonder if it's because it's not a region I own, though. I was told that there would be like a hashing that shows where you go too high, your animals will die. But I don't see it. Never mind. We'll have to address that another day. I might have to review that comment and see what they actually said. I must have forgotten. Right. Got a little bit more money, but not enough to buy ourselves any apples for over there. Let's get ourselves the setup here for this granary as well. Where is our market stall here? Doesn't look like we ever built one. So let's see if we can't get that ensconced in this little gap here. Wonderful. Supply chains aren't looking too bad actually at the moment. But that, of course, will change just as soon as we have more people moving in here. And have people start moving in? Not just yet. Probably still moving into a couple of those expansions, but there's plenty of space for them to move in. And we'll start assigning people to the large storehouse and granary as and when they arrive, I think. Probably makes the most sense. Let's just grab that well in here. Oh, it's a stone well already being upgraded. Perfect. As for the rest, we're going to want... Ooh, dear. What's that? No active recipe. Oh, of course, yes. We need to go in here and tell them that they should be making mead. And then they should be making cider, then ale. And I don't think there's any reason to set limits for these. We should be using all of our honey. Well, apart from maybe apples. Maybe a surplus of 100 apples before we start making any ale. So we do have some going out to general market. Don't know, that might be a bit high. We'll have to wait and see with that. We can use all the malt, and we can use all the honey, and we can just keep producing indefinitely. How much honey do we have? As we go into October, we should have harvested some. Yes, up to 70 honey, and hopefully it's all stored at this granary. 22 of it is. I wonder if we should also go around to our other granaries and say they're not allowed to stock honey. So it all goes to the location where we have our brewer. So there's that one there, and there's the other main one down here. Yeah, that has the rest of the honey. So we'll tell them they're not allowed to do such a thing. Do the same to this one, and then to our new granary down here as well. I still wish there was an apply to all button for our granaries, so I could tell them all to store exactly what I'm saying. Or maybe copy filters and then paste it onto other granaries. That'd be useful as well. Anyway, a few families have moved in, so we're going to assign... become a farmer. There's been a rotation in what... who's doing what, isn't there? We're going to assign you to a large granary. We're going to assign your friend to the storehouse. It's rather stripped the number of farmers we have. There are still 3 there, though. Hopefully another family will move in shortly. And that'll mean we have a spare family, because at the moment we've got no one unassigned, which I guess is less of a problem than it used to be, because we have dedicated construction workers now. What are we going to do here extension-wise? So, you're fairly small, aren't you? So, I think we'll make you into a vegetable garden. Whoa, what's up with... Sometimes you zoom out, and the game's like, okay, and it just takes you all the way up. Okay, with this baggage here, I think you'll make a good vegetable garden. How are we doing for milk? We're going to have the cows producing milk as well, obviously. So we don't necessarily need to have loads of goats. So maybe a few more piggies or even chickens to produce a little bit of eggs. A little bit of eggs. Excellent English, typical, well done. A few eggs. And then vegetable garden in there. Maybe a few more chickens. And we'll want to get some cows, some pigs in as well. You're long and thin, so we'll make you into an orchard, and we'll do the same with you as we gently pan around our latest construction. You two can be pig farmers, and you two can be the same. You're long and thin, so you'll make an orchard. I've not made as many vegetable gardens as I thought here. You can be vegetables. And the last 2 perhaps can be chickens again. 17 spaces for people to move into. 78% approval. I suspect as soon as mead starts hitting the streets, that'll also improve. Of course, they can't at the moment because we haven't actually built any taverns. So we'll have to do that. But never fear, we shall do it shortly. Get you some pigs now we've got a bit of money. Talking of a bit of money, ooh, some upgrades over there already. How did we get on with buying in cows? Oh, look! Cows and sheep. This is the most cows I've ever had. It's very exciting. Look at them all. magnificent. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 beautiful cows. Oh, yes. Hopefully, they shall breed and be delicious. And also produce good milk. And many other heroics. Isn't that right, J-Rock? Isn't that right? Go and look at the pinned comment from the last video if you're wondering what I'm on about there. It's fantastic. I had a good giggle reading it. So, vegetables. We are still short on cabbages and carrot. So I think we'll get the 2 of those in a little higher quantity. And then where there are upgrades to be had, we shall of course bestow them upon our fine citizens of Inderschlau. Proud to call this place home. Money's looking pretty good, but the more we can export, the more money we can make. Yes, capitalism. So that probably means producing more iron tools. We can sell tools actually, couldn't we, as well? Have we made a whole bunch of dressed stone? Construction materials, 340 of the stuff. Well, how far are we? This winter we'll probably have enough to build a church, but I'm starting to think perhaps we should be also exporting ourselves, by horse, a few dressed stone. So we'll set that to export, and we'll set a surplus of 300 for the time being, I think is plentiful. And just as soon as we have 250 coinage to buy ourselves another trade route, then we shall endeavour to do so. Next thing we need, though, to help boost happiness, is to get a small tavern, and I think it's only right that those brewing the good old brew of mead should also get to share in its ecstasy. And therefore, we're going to put ourselves down the tavern directly opposite their homes, the streets to their homes. There we are, and then anyone passing through the central island can enjoy a nice cold brew of mead. It'd be nice to do some walls of the castle at some point, the manor, but we don't need to rush with regard to that, although it might be a good idea to start doing some deforestation on here so we don't have a whole load of trees surrounding it. We may even go and do a little bit of specific planting, you never know. We did enjoy that in a previous playthrough, didn't we? So, to that end, let's get ourselves a logging camp situated over here. The reason I'm building one over here, and not just setting up a work zone to come and have the existing foresters work over here, is I did find a problem previously when we did our first playthrough of the new update, where they didn't leave and go to and fro on the island for some reason. They're working somewhere that they weren't based, so there's something a little weird going on with that. So we'll just build one here specifically for the time being. How are we doing for mead then? Have we built up any at all? Oh, we've got 34 mead. Fantastic. There'll be plenty for the small tavern to dole out to its patrons. Still a little shy on ox guides. I am over time slowly assigning people to work at the stables, but I am conscious it does take up quite a lot of workers, and I don't want to lose too many to it. Winter is upon us. We're ready for an upgrade. 15 available accommodation spaces. And that should mean we're starting to produce some clay tiles again. Indeed, we've got people working at the clay furnace, and we should have people working over at the clay mining pit. Indeed, well, and person. And how much have we got left in there to mine? 70. So it won't be done this winter with just one family, but shortly thereafter, I imagine. I love the seasonal hiring. It's so good, isn't it? I don't have to worry about unassigning, forestry workers or anything. They do it themselves. It's definitely the best quality of life update to Manor Lords that we've had in a very long time. Up to 159 coinage. What do we want to do then? Well, we've got the new farmhouse over here, so we should get that a plough, and we should also make sure they have some oxen. So we'll get down a couple of stable spaces, and we'll just pop these on the outside of the road here, because I see no harm in putting them on the slope. Maybe we'll get 3 in there. And we should probably assign a few more families to this granary and storehouse. Indeed, we are starting to look a little bit pressed once again. So you, sir, what do you do? You're all busy, actually. Need a few more families to move in before we can start doing that. I suppose one slight downside to the seasonal hiring is you might not be getting someone who lives particularly locally. It does take away a little bit of the micromanagement of placement, I suppose. It's happening. It's happening again. I get to build the large stone church again. I'm so excited. Right. I think we should watch this happen. Ignore that person slowly working his way out. Let's watch this upgrade. There we have it. A simply gorgeous view of the construction as well, with those Lovely new cows in the background, just pasturing their way around. I didn't see much use of the new delivery trays. Trays? Trays? What? It's a tray. The new delivery carts from the oxen. So don't know what that's about. They obviously only use them in certain situations. I'm not sure exactly what the rules are, but here we are with another gorgeous church ensconced upon the side of our settlement. Fantastic, right. Level 3 church done. Is that a new requirement to get burger shots up to level 4? Quite possibly. Don't know though. That'll be interesting. Let's order another horse and we'll assign that up to 4 horses. We probably need to make sure we've got enough stable space, so a few more hitching posts in the vicinity. It wouldn't go amiss, I am sure. Let's do 1 there and 1 there for the time being. 3 unassigned families, so slowly starting to build a little bit of a surplus, though I am going to ruin that by coming right in here and assigning a few of them to work at the local granary and storehouse to make sure we are keeping on top of the supply chain problems. Grand stuff. Well, that looks to have pretty much kept us on top of that. Let's go ahead and do a bit of work on this farm here, shall we? So it's ready to produce us some goods in the years to come. Right, so let's delete these little roads here. We don't need those anymore. We know where we're putting this wonderful little farmstead. And what are we looking at then? So obviously it's oat fertility that we planted here for. So that is what our primary crop is going to be. Let's get ourselves a field tool and start filling this out a bit on oats so we feel better about the fertility levels. And never mind. I think 0.3, 0.4 Morgan is a reasonable size for us to put a lovely little farm in here. So we'll just go ahead and pop a couple of those down, just like a proper good farmer would. And we'll just splay these out a little bit. Don't need to all be uniform now, do they? We might have to put a little road in here because it doesn't seem to recognize that one. So we'll do that road there, just like that. And we'll get a little field tool, and doesn't really like that one, does it? So we might have to do that a bit manually. So we'll get that there, do that there. One day, I'm going to stop doing weird accents. But never fear, that day is not today, friends. That day is not today. Okay, let's pop that across there. Do this across here. Why doesn't it like that road? Great Scott. Good heavens. Okay. I'm taking some getting... this. I tell you what this camera view makes me feel. It makes me feel like I am the rank. And I'm just, you know, spinning slowly around, and I don't really know what I'm doing, where I'm going. It's like just every Monday morning, basically. So we'll fill that across there, and that is our little field network here. And you know what? It's just coming into March. It's not a terrible time to plant at all. Except we don't have anyone who works here, and it's generally a problem. We will plant up then when the fields rotate next year. We shall have to try and remember to do so. Over here then, what do we have? So it's going to be 94% oats on the second year here, after the fallow. So that is a strong yield for sure. What would it be on the oats coming out after this rye? Nope, it's after... It's be on the next rotation. Oats 70%, 94%. So that would suggest to me, if we... Well, it doesn't really matter checking the fertility, because this will show us what it is now. It does appear that the fertility is better when you add in a crop fallow rotation. So maybe that's the way to go. We shall just have to wait and see. Down to 12 accommodations available, so people have indeed been moving in across here. Well, we've got 440 points, so we ought to buy some carrots with that, shouldn't we? And over yonder, we've got plenty of animals to buy as people move in, but there's no need to rush on with that when there's people over here that need apples. Let's plant some apples in there, 330, but hopefully that'll provide us with a few. What have we got these days in terms of apples? Currently, nothing, but hopefully harvest will be reasonably good. Let's go and look at the record and see about resource production when it comes to apples. So, oh, hello, apples. There you are. Past 12 months. So, as of September 21st, when it was the max harvest, we had 36. There's not very many apples. How are we doing for meat, though? We should have a reasonable amount, shouldn't we? 73 of the stuff. What's the spoilage on meat? Where is it stored? In here? Very low. Wonderful. Well, the lovely tavern has been constructed. I think we might as well upgrade this to a large tavern straight away, though, because we have plenty of workers here at the construction yard. And try to click on the market stall. Oh, look at that. Supply is surprisingly good. Usually it's absolutely abhorrent by this point in my playthroughs. So we'll get that tavern upgraded, and then we might even get a worker or two ensconced over there. as we shall with the logging camp as well. Let's assign a livestock and get a family working there. We are still worker poor for sure, even with our brand new church. I don't know why we need 2 families working here, but it's nice to have the option, I suppose. How are we doing for animals? So as this will be the first year where we get the opportunity to breed them, I suppose. So hopefully we'll see that tick up from 6 and 6 over time. 1 livestock farm worker seems to be plenty enough at the moment, and we've got plenty of feed to keep everyone happy. We might even be able to start giving oats to the general population. Approval is 74%. Are we still a bit short on meats, I would imagine? I mean, you haven't got animal produce. You haven't got fruits or animal produce, yes, okay. Meats, fishes, or garments. Oh, good grief, yes, we've not done anything with clothing, have we? Well, now we've got a few sheep. We might be able to start producing ourselves a little bit of wool. So the textile industry is something we ought to start considering. With that in mind, we've got a bit of space over here, so why don't we put in plans for a little textile industry area? We'll get down a granary and a storehouse, which we'll maybe put in... No, we'll do it all on this road. We'll put a storehouse here, a granary here, and then we'll put in a road behind them, like so. Check that that is enough space for us to get in a lovely weaver. Certainly is. So with that in mind, we'll go down and get down another storehouse with space in between for us to pop a well over here and a market stall in this space here. Grand, and then a couple of spots for weavers. There and there. Lovely. And then we'll just connect this road back down here. And the hope is we'll have a granary and a storehouse for supply of houses that we're going to build back here. And we'll have a storehouse specifically for the storage of wool, yarn, and other textile goods for a couple of burgages here, which will be dedicated to clothing production. Now, I do think we're going to need to buy a lot more sheep than we have previously, because they're not going to breed, I don't think, as quickly as they have done in the past. Now it's on that kind of yearly rotation instead of gently ticking up over time. So, with that in mind, let's go down to our livestock trading post. And let's import 20 sheep. An enormous number, I know. Hopefully, we'll be able to get a whole bunch of them without too much hassle. Of course, that is going to mean bringing in even more money. So let's check how we're doing on the trade front. So we've got plenty of dressed stone ready to be exported, and we have 4 horses. But we don't have a full complement, that's the word I was looking for, of trade post workers. So we'll assign another family there, and hopefully be able to get another one soon. Again, a bit short on ox guides. Not a lot we can do about that at the moment. We are just going to have to wait for a few more people to move in. People are doing so though, and we will continue to get in some pigs and other such animals to stock the houses. We've got a fair few more chickens here now, so I'm hoping that's going to contribute towards the animal produce side of things with plenty of eggs. Ooh, go on then. I know we just got set to import a whole bunch of sheep, but more apples is more good. We do have 1 spare worker. They're probably living quite far away, is the only problem. So I wonder if we can afford to lose a granary worker over here. Probably not ideal. That we lose a construction yard worker. They don't really want to do either. Decisions. There's only 1 worker at the storehouse as it is, and they're bringing in plenty of charcoal. We'll just have to assign a random. And we'll set the overstock to maybe 10. And hopefully they'll start distributing some meat to people, which will A, pick up our approval, and B, make people merry. And both, I think, are a good use of our resources. Did I still not build the market stall? I know we did. Marketplace behind them there. I will upgrade these because we have the resources and we have the time. Money is definitely something we could do with more of, isn't it? I know it's always the case, but we could sell some meat, I suppose. But it would be, I'd rather distribute it to the locals. Do you have meat? You do, it's just garments you miss. And hopefully approval is going up as a result. 10 available spots for people to be moving into. How are we doing on the production of dressed stone? We've got loads of this stuff, so maybe we are just export limited by our trade post at the moment. Have we brought... Oh, I'll tell you what we haven't done. Silly me, this is why we're not exporting dressed stone. We haven't afforded the trade route yet. Oh, for goodness sake. Well, we're going to have to wait a while longer because at all the purchasing we're doing of our lovely sheep is definitely going to set us back in terms of the amount of money we'll have spare to buy that trade route. At least in the meantime, we can keep building up our stockpiles for sale, ready for sale. Wonderful. What do we want to do next then? What haven't we built? Well, we've pretty much done everything on here. We're not doing any tanning though, so this would make sense to have over in what is becoming the textile quarter. So maybe we'll just pop down a little tannery just there. Maybe another construction yard over here would be useful, but I don't think it's necessary. Got ourselves our first tavern. Maybe another tavern over here somewhere, ready for when we have some lovely cider to supply people with. Where can we locate this? Is there any space on the outside road here where it's not too steep? Doesn't look like it. We've rather filled everything up in here, haven't we? Right, well, let's put it over here then. Plan in advance for having this. And maybe we'll pop it just opposite the fields there. And we've got some space for some accommodation in between the gaps there. And maybe over here wouldn't be a bad spot if we are going to extend further in this direction. So we'll get a lovely tavern on the King's Road just there. We have got enough influence to claim another region, but I feel like we have all of the goods that we need here, realistically. How are we doing for rye production? We haven't really done anything with it, have we? So, we have... Where am I looking? We've got 19 barley, 10 rye grain, 12 wheat grain. Well, that's what we need. We need to get ourselves a windmill. So we'll go to farming, and we'll select ourselves a windmill. And where are we going to construct this beautiful building? Ooh, lovely spot here, just near the fields. Perfect. We'll pop that one down there and get that constructed. We'll then need to get a bakery, which is that still a level 3 upgrade? Let's check in down here at one of our level 2s. Indeed, along with the cheesemonger, we'll need level 3 to get ourselves a bakery, and we're not going to do that until we have any clothing. So for the time being, we are going to need to get ourselves a communal oven, and it would make sense to have that nice and close to where we are having the windmill produce us all the flour. Upgrade that storehouse, even though we haven't had the time or the resources to put people into permanent jobs at quarries, etc. And when it comes to the storage locally. More upgrades to be done. Well, we've got plenty of construction crews available, so we'll get those on the way. And 123 regional wealth. How are we doing for sheep? 7 sheep. We've got a little lamb as well. Isn't that sweet? We've got 2 calves. Oh, fantastic. Let's go and see the calves. Hello? Where are you? Are you a calf? Oh, no, you're kept in a field away from your mother. That's so cruel. So sorry, calf boy. Where's the other calf? You in here? No, are you also separated from your parental unit? Over in this field? There you are as well. That's a bit cruel, everyone. You should just move with the parents as well, shouldn't you? Well, I presume they know what they're doing better than I for the care of the livestock. I suppose you've got a nice large pasture at least with a gorgeous church nearby where you can go and pray at any point you wish to. Anyone else moved in wanting an upgrade? You and... Ooh, go on then. I'll buy you some apples. Any opportunity to buy someone apples and I'm all over it. It is July. It's going to be September before we can set our crop rotations over in the fields here, and I think, given the experiments we've run over here with leaving everything a little bit longer with the fallow and improving fertility, I think we're going to go for fallow over there as well, rather than having something there every year. Let's go to work it in the windmill. And I'll tell you what, actually. We'll set up some advanced seasonal assignments. And we will set them to work in the winter. Why can't I unassign? Oh, I already did. Lovely. So we'll set someone to work there in the winter. Because that's when we have a surplus of workers. Might even set 2. And that keeps people free now. And it would make sense to do the same for our communal oven. So we'll go for seasonal hiring, and we'll go for 1 in the winter, and maybe 1 as well in the spring, so they can continue baking bread if we have an excess of flour into that period. Pastures are already filling up, so we might have to think about adding more of those down the line, but it's really nice, isn't it, to see more animals in Manor Lords. It has felt a little bit bare at times without cows and etc. filling up the space. What other animals could they add? Boars or something? I don't know. Who knows? I'm sure they've got plans and ideas. I'm still excited to see whether or not they fix the green upgrade button for level 4 burgages, but I think we're a little ways off at the moment. We're up to 79% approval though, so the distribution of the mead is definitely having an impact, though we have nearly gone through it all already. You very hungry mead people going through all of that very quickly. I imagine we've got no spare honey. We do have herbs though, which I assume are being distributed on the general market. What can we do with this little bit of downtime? Well, we're down to 8 accommodation spots, so maybe we should look to start building out the infrastructure we'll need for the textile quarter. We'll build... oh, how many houses do we want? Maybe 4 that we can set up to be clothiers. I think that ought to be enough. We don't need them to take up any more space than they have to. A little bit smaller again, I think we can get away with. Slightly longer rear garden there. Oh, perfect. So oh no, not perfect. U4 shall be for the manufacture of textile, and I'm going to surround you with a little road so that I know you are set aside for said purpose. And let's also upgrade your various granaries and storehouses ready for when you do start work. And then a few more burgages in here. And should we do a bunch of small ones again? We're doing okay for food, aren't we? So I don't know if we need to have loads and loads of veggie plots. So if we go for another bunch of small burgages that we can fill up with, you know, some chickens and the like, pop those down there. And then we'll extend this road maybe all the way out to the edge here. Like so. And then we put burgages in this orientation, and these can be for our vegetables, the expansion of our vegetable markets. So we don't have to do it everywhere. I'm trying to turn that off. Thank you. Right, so let's see if we can get 2 little ones popped in here. Little burgages. Little burgage. Oh dear. Typical started singing. It's no good. Try and avoid that at all costs. Right. Is that large enough for a house? Not quite. So it's turn off snapping again. I really wish there was a hotkey for that. There isn't, as far as I can tell. And we don't need to be too big because it's for vegetables and they just lose track of time. They don't get anything done if you make them too big. Okay, put that there. And then a couple of small ones again. It's a little bit out there. It's not perfectly square, but that's okay. It's a game that's very forgiving when you don't have things perfectly aligned. It's like, oh, so what? It's medieval. Put those there. And this may also need manually extending. Oh, it's not too bad, actually. We can safely fit one in there. So we'll get that there. And then can we fill out this space here with one more? Ooh. Ooh, I quite like that. A little weird space there. And then maybe a few in this direction as well. It may be worth as well having a local brewers somewhere over here. If we're going to be making lots of apples in the vicinity, it might make sense to have someone more local who can brew the stuff. Nope, that's definitely not an efficient use of space. Neither is that, really. What about if we come from here and fill out this way? Oh yes, perfect. They'll make 2 wonderful orchards. We really are starting to fill up the space on this side of the Indischlau region, aren't we? And that's given us an additional 11 being built on top of the 14 accommodations we already have available. I'm not going to do any assignments here because they're going to need to be level 2 before we can assign them to be clothiers, tailors, workshops. We'll also need some boots being made at some point, so that's something they can do over here as well. As for the others, oh dear, it's totally the wrong button. We're going to get in a bunch of chicken coops. And with those chicken coops in there, we'll have to change that for a chicken coop as well. We'll then consider getting some goats, etc. in the others, but I'm hoping with the number of number of chickens we've put in recently, we're going to start to see eggs on the animal produce tick up. Indeed, we've got a little bit of milk for the first time. Very keen to turn it into cheese as well. So I imagine we're getting a little bit of milk produced from our cows now. If we go to the livestock post, can we see what you've produced? Oh, 4 milk. Spoilage is very high though. As you'd expect, I suppose. We've got a little bit of wool as well. And are we at crop rotation? Harvest season has started. This might be a good time to go and... we'll wait for the rotation. Which I don't think has happened yet. Don't think I've missed it. And then we'll go in and set some crops to be done over here. If it hasn't happened by October, then we might just get in and do it. It might happen at the end of November. I'm not sure. I'm not entirely sure. Right, we need to change that back to a chicken coop. Before we do that, we have got a bit of money. So let's go over to the trading post and finally buy that trade route. The export of dressed stone. And then we'll get back in over here and fix where we previously assigned the wrong thing. Oh my goodness. No, we're going to delete that. Turns out you don't have a rear extension at all. That's no good. Can't have you doing absolutely nothing, can we? Good heavens. Guess I'm not filling out that space after all. Right, so these two are for vegetables, so we'll get those in there. And the other two over here are going to be for orchards, so we'll get that in over there. 6 unassigned families. That's a nice change, isn't it? Crops have rotated, so we can go ahead and set these fields up over here. Before we do that, let's buy ourselves in a couple of goats. We could get quinces, fine. Not everything has to be apples, I suppose. We are still going to need some fruit on the market, as well as just making cider, despite what my personal preferences might be. We'll upgrade those two. And then when it comes to what we're putting in over here, we're going to turn on crop rotation for all of the fields to start with. Usually I do this one at a time, but maybe it's going to be a little faster than what I normally do. At least I can hope for that anyway. Okay, turn all those crop rotations on. And then, what's it going to be? So, flax fertility is very low here. I wouldn't mind getting a bit of flax in to kind of complement the wool industry we're going to have. Oats are obviously a given. And then I think it's going to be rye as opposed to wheat here. So if we go oats followed by rye, and I think we'll probably just follow that all the way through. Oats and rye. I don't think there's much point in planting barley, to be honest, given the amount of harvest we've had from them recently. In fact, I might go and remove them from the rotations, which hopefully will end us a little bit of fertility for the crops we do actually get a fair amount out of over here, which is oats and rye. Could that have been wheat? 30%. We'll leave it at oats. Leave it at rye, rather. Yeah, so... Good grief. UI is so big. Oats and rye. Because we're not really getting anything from it. And these days, of course, we have an ultimate source of alcohol. 2 of them, in fact. So we don't necessarily need to do the whole barley thing, which is nice. It adds a little bit of, a little bit of variety, because you can choose whether or not to do it. Whereas previously, if you wanted to get anything above level 2, you had to grow or buy in barley, oats and rye, or at least buy in barley sheaves, which of course you can't do anymore. They've removed that ability. All right, so we've got all of those activated, and let's go ahead and set up our seasonal hiring at the farmhouse. That's going to be 4. In those seasons, 1 in spring. I think that's what we've done over here, isn't it? Oh, 1, 2, and 4. Let's do the same here. 1, 2, and 4. And let's assign you a few livestock, and it wouldn't hurt to order in an ox here. We have a spare family. Quite tempted to assign them to work at one of the hitching posts, because the game is complaining we're not assigning enough people to do that. Which I never used to do, which is probably why I never assigned anyone. Maybe they've done it because they're like, it would make such a difference to your city if you just hired a few people into these things that we've provided for you. And everyone's like, no, I don't want to. And they're like, fine, we're going to give you a big red thing at the top, and then you have to because you'll feel bad. And everyone's like, oh, okay. At least that's been my experience. Your mileage may vary. I want to go into a stable with someone in it. There we are. Okay, you can go into there. And hopefully we can get a few of these ploughed before winter comes. There we are. Oxes are going in and starting the ploughing. Doesn't the town look so much more grand with a building like that in the distance? I feel like Manor Lords has been missing some epic constructions. I mean, the art at the loading in page is always so prestigious. I really would like to see that in the game itself. And I think we're on the way with the large stone church here. Talking of stone, why don't we come over to the manor, open up the castle planner, and see about adding some walls over here. So, actually, what we might do first is delete the logging camp. Yeah, is there anything else we want to add inside the walls here? I think we're probably going to actually not bother with farming on here. Do we want anything in the manor grounds? Do we want to have another church in here, perhaps? I don't think so. With one right across the way here, I don't think it's necessary for us to have one in here as well. But do we want some burgages or something? Why don't we have a little road that comes off like this here, opposite the manor. And on it, we could put a number of logistical supplies. So if we put in, at the end, a storehouse here, and a granary here, and then connect these up to this road. If we remove this a bit further back, I want that to be a bit of a steeper turn there. Let's get in a bit closer. Yeah, that's more like it. And then we'll connect this road in here, like so. And then a couple of burgages in here to basically make the manor production. So, some vegetables for the manor, some trees for the manor. And I think we'll do these... Yeah, terrible use of space. What about like this? Yeah, that's better. What I might do, though, is put a road that curves around the side here. Like so. Oh, don't want a little curve on the end there. Blast. Okay. I mean, like so. Let's try that again. And cuts back in here. Maybe not quite like that. Yeah, a little bit like that there. And then we can put a burgage in like this. So maybe they could both be for vegetables. And then if you put a couple of burgages across like this, and they can be for one of each type of fruit tree. Okay, then those are all going to be in the manor grounds. And do we want anything else in here? Well, we're probably going to want a well for water supply. So maybe we'll put that just down from the manor here. What other buildings would look good? I always find that having a smithy looks quite good. We don't even have to have the bloomery on. But I think it's the sort of thing that you would have inside of a manor's walls. You know, the ability to make your own tools if you needed to. So we'll put that down there. As for anything else, I don't think we need anything. What we are going to do, though, is quickly grab ourselves the field tool. And let's see if we can't delete a few of these trees. Okay, it's those there. And then we'll do the same with these here. And then what I think we'll do is see if we can't place ourselves a few of our own trees in our own pattern. It can kind of be curated planting in the Lords' grounds. I like the idea of that very much. After the success we had on the Roman city build, keen to see if we can't replicate that. Bring that down there. I wish there was a delete tree thing, you know. There's a delete shrubbery, but that doesn't get rid of trees. We will use that in a minute to get rid of anything else that's around here we don't want. Oh gosh, there's a tree actually inside the manor there. Can we get rid of that with a road? We can, good. And this tavern, I think, is probably going to be on the outside of the manor grounds. I don't think we're going to have that inside. It's for the common folk, after all, so the wall will come across and around here, basically. Okay, right, last couple of trees we will delete using roads. And then we'll use the shrub clearance tool over here. Let's get rid of all this stuff. Still a few trees on the banks there that are going to be left. I wonder if we can get rid of those using roads. They may be stuck there, though. I'm not sure we're actually going to be able to get to those, because I can't build a road or anything that close to the waterline. Unless I can put a pasture that close. Let's have a look. Can I pasture around you? No. Right. The only way to get rid of those is going to be a logging camp then, I suppose. Which is rather irritating. I mean, they could stay there. I mean, those ones aren't obtuse, I suppose. The trees inside of the manor are a bit annoying as well. Ooh. Let's just check that. Oh dear, wrong button. Let's just check that that definitely isn't something we can get rid of using the shrub removal tool. Alas, 'tis not. Okay, well that gives a fair bit to be done over here around the manor. And then if we open the castle planner, let's see about planning some walls and gates around. So we'll have the one and only gate will be here, like so. And then I think we'll stay fairly close inland. We don't need to go right out to the edges. And we'll just kind of follow the contour lines. I can't place enough goods, really? What are we short on? Have we got very few planks at the moment or something? 28, only 18 timber. Gosh, we have been upgrading very busily, haven't we? Why don't we get ourselves another logging camp in preparation for when we move onto the other side of the river. So we'll come down here, place that just there for the time being. And we'll have to consider some domestic expansion over there as well. I suppose it's going to be helped now we have the construction going on over here as well. I suppose we have just built all of these brand new dwellings over here. We've been upgrading all of these. And we've also just placed a whole bunch around the manor itself. So it's probably not surprising we're running a little low on resources at the moment. I'm sure it's something we can overcome. How much wool did we end up with? Only 15. Barely seems there's any point in having anyone working at the Weaver's Workshop, does it, with that number? Let's set up a specific assignment, though, ready for it. So we're going to have leather, wool, hides, flax, linen, and yarn here. And then, of course, boots and clothes. That's all we're going to need from a dedicated storehouse. And the others, of course, we need to go in and disallow the various goods that we don't need here. We don't want coming here, rather. And this will be a generic supply storehouse, so you just need those three there, so we don't accidentally sell firewood to anyone. And has anyone... Have we finished moving in over here? Not quite. Let's buy some cabbages for you and get you an upgrade while we're over here, though. I take it we made our way through our meat supply. They've actually got a little bit left. I wonder if that's because we are still producing honey. When is honey harvested? Not sure. Guessing autumn. Same as some of the others. Granary supply chain is starting to look a little bit pressed, so let's fly on over here. Where do we have our nearest granary to you lot? It's over here, isn't it? We'll assign another family to that to make sure we've got enough supply over here, and then just as soon as people start moving in over here, we'll have to activate the local granaries over here to cope with the extra demand. Really happy with how this is coming along. How do we want to do our planting over here then around the manor? Should we have a little box around the manor itself? It's a bit late now. We might have to look at this again sort of next year. Once the spring comes around, we'll take control of one of the foresters and maybe a little causeway here leading in to the gate. We could always do that. We could do that on the outside as well. And then maybe just a few around the perimeter, and maybe as a screen between the Lord's house and the little village outside for his production. So a little line of trees across here, and then maybe wrapping around this side to the wall, and then you'll have a lake view looking across here, basically, onto the river around. That sounds a splendid idea. We'll assign a logging camp livestock over here, and we'll also get ourselves a couple of hitching posts in preparation for the expansion in that general direction. And we've got the windmill operational and the communal oven. Are we starting to make a little bit of bread? Ooh, not just yet, but I imagine it's on its way. We've got some wheat flour. And I imagine before too long, we'll have some rye flour as well. And in turn, that shall be baked. Oh, the family who's working here isn't very well. Let's up that to 2 families each there in the hope that we can get that operational a little bit faster. Look at the regional wealth, 1.3k. You can see we've started exporting the excess stone we're producing. So let's go ahead and spend it. Let's check anywhere where we haven't already got some lovely orchards ensconced or vegetable plots unplanted. We'll go and buy them their resources. We'll even get some pears. How about that? And then we're straight down to 200. Doesn't go very far when you're buying seeds for orchards, does it? The finances in this game. Don't want you. I want this chap down here who has not been bought a piggy. So buy you a piggy. Some wheat bread, fantastic, and a few oats for the market as well, potentially. 27 apples still. Have we set up our brewery to make any cider? Advanced. No, we need 100 before you start making any. That might be slightly unrealistic. We'll have to wait and see. Approval at 79%. My goodness, we're so close to getting that 80%, aren't we? I wish we had a stronger supply of meat. I think that's one of the things that's holding us up at the moment. Of course, we can, down the line, start slaughtering our beautiful cows, but I wouldn't really want to produce more food for us. We've only got 16 pigs. Maybe we do just need to get a few more families set up with some pigs in their extensions. But we've got a few over here that we've yet to assign anything to, so we'll get some animal pens popped in here, and we shall plan out some piggies for those just as soon as the construction is complete. And we'll do the same coming along here. Those are done. Those are done. 24 accommodation spaces. We don't have any space for such things over here in the manor grounds, because this is going to be for vegetables in these two and for orchards in these three. Grand. I'd quite like to see if we'd have flax anywhere. Definitely not on the peninsula here. There's an area in here that might have been okay, but we've completely built over it. Okay. There's another orange area out here near where we have our clay mine. Is there anything on this side of the river? Doesn't look like it. Oh yeah, a bit of orange over here as well. And a bit in there. Tiny bit there, but that's about it. Well, I think we might as well come over here then. And there's already going to be some farming done here for some oats. So it wouldn't be too much of a stretch to have some flax being done as well. Ooh! Oh, I was going to say it's green, but that's a neighbouring region. Let's do a little road then, surrounding said fertile area, so that we can plan out our farms as such. Lovely. How are we doing? Is there any clay left to mine? There is a little bit. Let's just quickly get a few more families over here, see if we can't get that done nice and quickly. We will leave those roads there for a second just so we don't forget. Maybe we're going to be coming over here before we cross the rivers to that side there then, because there's another rivers cross here. We could put a road in here, couldn't we, actually? Seeing as we have the resources to do such a thing now. And make a new bridge. Connect that in like so. Our bridge works perfectly. Look, fantastic. I don't think there's any need for more bridges back and forth here, though, because I quite like the idea of the manor being reasonably well isolated. We've basically got a ready-made moat here, haven't we? Yes. Maybe we will put the wall a bit closer to the edge. I don't know. It really would look like a moat then, wouldn't it? So many decisions to be made. Speaking of decisions, farms. Let's get a couple of them down just here. There's a nice spot for wheat there, isn't there? I wonder if we do that. Bring back my fertility menu, please. Let's section this off here. Another really weird shape, but we knew that was going to be the case when we started doing things like this. And we'll get a couple of, ideally 3 fields in this space here. The smaller they might be, to produce us some wheat. Because that's one of the whole premises of this gorgeous little valley settlement we've set up here, to see if we can't kind of work around where the fertility is to make best use of the space. So we'll get a couple of farms in here. Oh, too steep. Great Scott. Guess we'll go down here after all. So we'll get those in there, and that'll remind us that we need to start thinking about how everything over there is going to be laid out. Not enough construction materials. We really are short on timber, aren't we? How are we doing for reforestation over here? I mean, definitely looks like we are reforesting, so that's positive. Perhaps we should go into here, though, and set them 2 workers for the summer and other seasons to make sure that we do get plenty of planting done. We may have to up the number of families we have working at the logging camp as well to 3, or to stop all of the rather unpleasant cattle jostling we do tend to see over here. Why don't we get down another... Really are short on logs. Another logging camp just behind it, so we can split the load between the 2. Seems a good idea. Maybe even put it on the main road out here. We'll have to wait till we have some resources though. We'll let the winter tick by. We'll let some resources come in. We'll let some families move in. I'll do a little bit of micromanagement. And then we'll revisit our gorgeous settlement when we have a bit more resource and we have a bit more of a vision moving into the next area. Get yourselves a lovely cup of tea. Toodle pips. Oh, well, hello there. It's been a minute and we've been very, very busy boys. So, as you'll see over here, we've extended massively into a new farm area. Over here, the intent is to get a whole bunch of flax as well as oats from these fields. We also have some wheat in these smaller fields here where we had good fertility. To support that, we've got a little farming community popped in here. And then as we move along the road here, we've got a fair few population packed in. As you can see, there's plenty of beehives out the back to produce us a fair amount of honey. We've also done some general work and expansion over in the main area. We've had the mines upgraded to deep mines as the surface supplies are running low, so that we can easily maintain them as well. The forests of orchards are well and truly set up and established and producing a reasonable number of apples. I think we even made 2 cider last year. We haven't had that many flax yet because there was a drought last year which rather ruined the crop, but we're importing a little bit of wool to see if we can't get on top of the whole clothing issue. And what's this? We've doubled the number of burgages on the centre peninsula, and as well as a few chickens, we've got a lot of honey being produced over here as well. Coming down to what is now 2 construction yards, filling us up with construction goods ready to go. And over here, we also have a new construction yard in the centre of the other side of the river, where we're intending to expand. And of course, down here, we have the orchards and the vegetable gardens of the manor's grounds. So, lots of progress has been made. As you can see, we've stocked up a fair number of resources as well, so hopefully we'll be able to get on with construction without any delay this time. And it is a ridiculous amount of honey. We are producing quite a lot. You can see we've got 16 there, and we have 20 mead in stock, so we're actually keeping on top of our current mead supply needs over here. What we are short of, as well as garments, is meats and fishes, so I think we need to get a few more pigs down to produce us a bit more in that area. Now, over here you'll see in the winter, I've got 3 families working at the weavers' workshops, and we should be seeing some clothes ticking in now. We've got 61 yarn, got 246 wool we're working our way through, and in fact we might need to extend these chaps to the other side of winter so they can continue making us yarn. In fact, we'll go for a 3-2-1 on the staff here, as they may be needed for other industries. Swinging right back over then, let's head into the other side where we're planning on doing some more expansion. I'm not going to move into the new field area just yet because, as you'll be able to see from the stats up here, we've got 157 animal feed, and we've still got... No, actually moved our way through all of the oats. I imagine actually that's because we had a big surplus of animal feed. I was thinking, gosh, we're making more than we need, but then we had a drought and we basically didn't make any oats that year. So it was a good thing to have a good stockpile. You definitely want a few more than you're going to need. I actually did buy some oats in a few years ago while I was just waiting for the population to go up. We are now up to 380 because we were growing our pasture space, so cows and sheep, faster than we were able to make fresh animal feed. All that aside, let's start thinking about how we're going to populate this area over here. You'll see we've been doing a lot of deforesting as well, gathering in a whole bunch of resources so that we'll have plenty for construction. First thing, of course, we'll need is a granary and a storehouse, and I think we'll basically just map off of the central 4 roads here. There's no need to expand too far away from this side of the river. So why don't we start with this road, and eventually we may even connect up toward that way. We'll just populate it all the way along. Let's bring a little road off then for a granary and storehouse before it gets too steep. So why don't we put that just here, and we'll go for a lovely granary and a lovely storehouse opposite each other. We'll need a decent source of water over here as well. So where can we pop one of these down? Decisions. I guess we can pop it down just here. It's fine. Gonna need to go somewhere. And then we'll get a little market stall in this space here. Grand. And I'm hoping... Actually, we might delete that and build this afterwards. I'm hoping we can get a nice row of burgages kind of following the main road here. Up to about there. So build that road in. Spin the cam around as the ground starts to thaw beneath our feet. And we'll see if we can't get a nice row of burgages just in here. Perfect, that is exactly what I was looking for. And then we'll see if we can't mimic something on the other side as well. So, following the King's Road here, let's take a road that basically matches the layout of it, so we can build some burgages up to the rear edge. I do like doing this these days as opposed to just building straight lines, because I do feel it looks a little bit more natural when you don't have a rear of burgage that literally ends with a dead stop. Tie that road in at the end there. Burgage wise then, why don't we start with the corner section, and we'll get a few in like so, and then expand this across. Larger rear extensions than you need to be actually, but it adds a little bit of variety, doesn't it? Something a little bit different to what we've done elsewhere. Turn off snapping there to get that sat how I want it. One thing about the camera slowly moving around, as nice as it is it does make it a bit difficult to click where I want to click sometimes. Never mind. Right. That hasn't ended very nicely there. We'll pop a little road across here as well. And continue to expand across here, up to the well. Seems as good a location as any. But we might put a little road surrounding it. Perfect. And we are definitely going to need some more granaries over here. So I don't think what we've got down there is going to service all these people. So we'll go ahead and get another granary just here, and a storehouse next door. All bunched in together. And then a market stall, which we will fill out in this space here, up against the road, and we'll have a little road that comes up behind it, so that it can be easily serviced from all of the granaries and storehouses. Fantabulous! Well, that construction really is coming along quickly, isn't it? It makes a huge difference having all of these construction yards nearby. And already people are starting to move into these. The first thing I want to do is get them working at these storehouses and granaries. So maybe let's up the priority of these down here. See if we can get those constructed so we can start working on them. And it would make sense to me to get the well upgraded to a stone well too, to make sure we have enough supply. It wouldn't hurt to have another one of these just down over here. While that construction is underway, let's come over here to the manor and start thinking about the castle planner. Now we have enough resources hopefully to make it all happen. So we've got the gate where we intended it to be here. And now let's carry on from this. And we were going to keep it fairly high, I know, weren't we? It's still like having a bit of a slope up from the moat around, isn't it? And this way, I think it'll just look better. Okay, so follow this around here. Onto the high ground. Like so. And just finish it into there. That's the basic outline I'm thinking of for the manor grounds. I do like having some buildings in the manor. It does look rather nice, I think. Outer towers, of course, are going to be key. So we'll go and pop a few of these around. Because nothing makes a manor look resplendent like a couple of these. He says, as he puts down a ridiculous number and breaks all of the walls. That's okay. Walls can be rebuilt. In fact, let's delete all the walls. And we'll start the walls again. Now we have our outer towers in place. We may have gone a bit overkill on the outer towers. We'll have to see if we spread them out a bit. We might have to lose one or two. Okay. Lovely. So, this one here probably needs to come out just a tad. Like so. Probably get rid of that one. And this one out to here. Try and keep a roughly even spacing between them all. Okay. Gonna lose another one here as well. Got a bit keen when I was placing these, didn't I? I mean, we had a lot on the Roman wall, but I think that's not even as dense as we have done here. Ha ha ha. We'll delete that one. Okay. Pretty happy with the angle that one's at. We'll just bring these out slightly. Ooh, do we get rid of one here? Yeah. These are all a bit close together. Why don't we squidge them all around a little bit? Like so. And then I'll just even these out on this side a smidge. Yeah, pretty happy with that. We'll just move this one in here a little bit and angle it. And then I think that calls for a couple of outer towers literally either side of the gatehouse. Maybe not quite so close to the gatehouse. But we'll delete the gatehouse. And we will build the towers first, and then the gatehouse. I'll just angle these out slightly, because I think that'll look nice. And then we'll put that there. Come on, wall. Don't be funny, wall. No funny business. Snap into the wrong side of the tower there. Oh, there we go. Okay, let's not move it too much. We don't want to break it. We know how finicky gates can be. And then we'll take our wall all the way around. Just make sure we're going from the right direction here. We are. That's fine. So we go around like this. Do we want to put these in a straight, or do we want to curve these? I think we probably want to curve them slightly, don't we? I think we want to curve them slightly. Not too much, just enough to show a little bit of life, or what? Okay, so we'll literally just click out ever so slightly from the kind of tan line that makes the outside of the manor, and that's going to give us a fairly consistent curve on these walls, I think. Might have to go through and then slightly adjust the angle on some of the towers too, so that the wall doesn't look like it's jarred in. Much smaller curve on that one, because it's a more flat angle. Then maybe a bit more of a curve on this one. No, that went maybe a bit too much. In fact, I think this tower should come forward a bit. Looking in over the tavern, make sure none of my citizens are getting too drunk and full of debauchery. Fab, that tower over there is going to be nice. It's going to be situated high on the hill. Then we'll just make sure we're happy with the angle of all of these towers before we go ahead and upgrade everything to stone. And before we do any actual construction over here, I'm quite keen that we do a little bit of tree planting. After our recent successes in the playthroughs where we've done entire tree-lined avenues, I think it would be amiss if we didn't put something in this manner. And it does add a little something, I think. Albeit, we're not getting carried away to Planet Coaster levels of perfection. Grand, and we'll just go and hit all the upgrade buttons, and we'll see what the final cost is going to be. Hopefully, we've prepped well, and we have all the resources required for such a upgrade program. Rather poor planning of me if I hadn't managed that, wouldn't it? Yes. What do we have available to us? Don't know. Oh dear! Oh dear. I've quite misclicked. Let's try and put you back where you were. Did that unsnap from the wall there? I don't think it did. Nearly there. And finally, the gatehouse itself. There we are. Right, so. Oh dear. We need 550 stone to make this happen, and we haven't even upgraded the manor yet. So we'll make sure that's upgraded. Grand stuff. Should we get a tax office? Why not? Add a bit of flavour. Put that down. Just here. Right. So, actually, no, we won't put it over here. Will we? Yes, we will. Or maybe, this would make sense, wouldn't it? Have it near the entrance as you come in. Perfect. Rightio, so we will need to stock up a few more stone. And we need more mortar as well. That's absolutely fine. So we'll head on over to the mortar boys. Down at the lime kiln. And we want more. Oh, we've got set to make 500 mortar, actually. Maybe you need to become a year-round assignment. Although it looks like no one's worked here in some time, actually. Maybe that's the problem. Oh dear. Right, well, we'll get them doing that. And we might have to start buying a little bit of clay as well. So we'll go over to the trade post. We spent a lot of our wealth, actually, buying in a whole bunch of... What's this? I can change what we stock at the trading post? I can have dedicated trading posts for different things? Wow, that's new. Couldn't do that before. Right, we're going to stop importing wool because we've spent a lot of money on it. And we're going to start importing some clay instead. Let's maybe import 100 clay. And we'll go down to our clay furnace. And we don't want to make more than, say, 150, 200 roof tiles. Let's go for 200. It's 20. Let's go for 200 to make sure we always have enough left over. And that way we're not constantly buying in a whole bunch of clay all the time. How are the farms looking? I know we didn't quite get finished last year. Are we still not finished in April? Okay, right. let's have an emergency assignment of staff to the local farmhouses and see if we can't get this done. I didn't realise we were quite so far off being done last year. I did up the number of workers at the end of last year, and I realised that there wasn't any livestock at this farm, but I think maybe I did that a bit late. We might need to add another farm, in fact. Goodness, a lot's happened over here, hasn't it? Right, so we've got people moving in, and I imagine that the market stalls are looking a little bit stretched, although not too bad, actually. So the few people that have arrived, it would be good if we can get you working at the storehouse and grain, but actually you've all been reassigned to go and work at the farm temporarily. That's fine. We'll leave you there for the time being. Over here then. Oh dear, not enough pasture space. Great Scott, we're running out of pasture space. Let's add a bit more of that before it becomes a problem. We start losing animals. Where are we going to pasture these poor beasts? Well, I added another sheep farm over here, or livestock farm over here. So I wonder if we can get one immediately around that. 6 space. Livestock farm. Yes, it's getting used to the new name still. And where else can we put this? Maybe down here. Yes, I think that's a good spot. Let's come along the top road here, and we'll put a fence down along the road. Good. Space for 48 in there, so that's fantastic. Over here then. Let's see about getting a few buildings set up. So as we said, we're... fuel is looking a little bit dodgy. Right, we will come to this. I keep getting so distracted. The reason I said about fuel is actually, before I started filming, I did notice we were a bit short, so I built another woodcutter's lodge. So let's get 2 families working in here, 3 in the winter, 2 in each of the other seasons. Is that what we have at this one? It is, yes. So hopefully see if we can offset that problem. And maybe we'll go for 2 in each season for the charcoal boys as well. And over here then, we're looking pretty good for vegetables. Apples, finally getting a reasonable number, but we could always do with more orchards. We might look to set some of those up as our next construction project for a domestic area. And there's a little bit of lag going on here, isn't there? Let's see about getting a few animal pens over here. When I say a few animal pens, what I mean is we're going to ram-pack the whole thing full of animal pens. So we can get a whole bunch of pigs to give us a lovely source of meat. And I'd love to get some cheese being made. Of course, we need a level 3 baggage for that. Hopefully we're not too far off that. Let's just do a quick check. We haven't got anyone over here ready for level 3, have we? We should have some clothes on the market by now. Just about starting to. Yes, meats and fishes and beverages actually currently as well. It's a bit of a lack. Even though we do have a bit of it. Look, a cider! Fantastic. Got a whole cider. How wonderful. Took long enough, didn't it? Should we have some vegetables in these? No. No, I think we will go for all animal pens. I don't know what we're going to do for our second type of meat. We don't really have enough money to import salt. I don't really want to set up in another region either, just to import the stuff at a cheaper price. So we may be a little bit stuck on that one. Because obviously sausages would be a good way to go, having this many pens down for piggies. Having said that, where is the nearest source of salt? Down here? Or there? Yes, salt there and salt down here. I suppose this one in the valley is a little bit closer. What else is in these regions? So there are some wild berries over there. That's about it for food down here. And up here, let's check fertility as well. It's fertile down there, but not up here. Yeah, there are strong salt deposits here. And you have a strong source of mushrooms, but it is all the way over there. Good gracious. We would also have to extract a fair bit of wealth from our settlement to enable us to set up another region. But it's doable, and I think if we did it, we would do it over here. I'll think about it. I will think about it. No promises, but I will think about it. What can we do to start making more money then, as our fuel starts to run sort of critically low? Come on, firewood cutters, do your job. Are we short on firewood or on charcoal? Where am I looking here? Sort of producing both at a reasonable rate, aren't we? We can start slaughtering sheep and cows, but I think they take so long to grow and make that it seems an awful waste, really. Maybe we'll slaughter a few cows at a later date. Right, so we've got plenty of iron coming in. Do we have excess iron? We do have excess iron ore, and we've got plenty of iron slabs as well. So let's go to the trading post, and we will start to sell iron ore, cheap though it may be. It's only 1 each. We'll set a surplus of, say, 400. Everything over that we can start to sell. Rough stone, how are we doing for rough stone? We're turning most of it into dressed, aren't we? And actually, we need to address the dressed stone. Haha. We need to now have a surplus of more like 600, not 6,000, gracious. 600 because we need at least 500 to build our manor. And we need to probably equip a few more people to start working in the metalworks industry. So we have a large storehouse here full of tools and iron slabs. We could sell tools actually. But we go to the trading post. That's what we're already making. And it's worth 3 compared to silent worth 8. Good gracious, we can sell... Oh no, sorry, metal armor. We could do that though. Sidearms 8 as well. Right, I'm going to spend our money now while we still have it. And we're going to set up an export on sidearms. We'll come down here. And we're going to open up 2 blacksmith's workshops down here where we formerly had some chickens. And we're going to use both of those to produce us some lovely swords. And with those swords, we shall buy our fortune. We may need to increase the number of bloomery workers. But you'll see I do have 2 assigned to each of these bloomeries during the winter months, when we have an excess of workforce. Hopefully that'll do the job. How do we get on with our fields in the end? All planted up? Yeah, more or less. So we'll get a little some oats out of this, but mostly the crop I'm looking for here is about 120 flax, which we didn't get last year because there was a drought, as I said. So I'm hoping this year we won't run into that same problem. And we should have additional workers available now we've expanded, so we'll assign a couple of extra when we do have the winter months. As we're coming out of the growing season. And maybe in anticipation of needing a few more people over here, we'll get down an additional farmhouse. We'll have to... Can we get that squeeze it in here? No, we'll have to do it up here. Okay. Why don't we put it in here? Too steep? Very well, we shall go there. Fantabulous. No active recipe. Indeed. Our new shops. So, you're going to make swords, my friends. And you're going to make a lot of them. When it comes to production limits, you don't have any. But I don't want you to use. Maybe always leave us 50 iron. So that should we need to make some more tools, we will have the material to do it at all times. We'll do the same with you and give you the same limits. Although no, it's already set up. So that the limits is universal. So we should start to make some swords. And already sidearms are coming out and they'll sell at 8 each. And that should have a big boost to our economy. There's no reason as well though that we couldn't also make ourselves some pole arms. How much do they sell for? Do they sell for the same? Because if they do, obviously diversifying what we are trading away will reduce the lower export costs over time due to oversupply. Only 5 for a polearm. Okay. 5 for a crossbow. 16 for plate armor. I think it's that perk we took, wasn't it? Yes, it's increased blacksmith efficiency, increased weapon export value. We did literally take the perk for this reason, and we've only just started exporting it. Well, better late than never, I suppose. So, well, we are exporting spears, although they're not worth very much. So, sidearms. I suppose we could do some polearms. We'll buy the trade route again. Export. We don't need a surplus to all of those. And let's go down and maybe open another 2 blacksmith's workshops who instead will focus on polearm construction. Okay. And let's have an assignment of additional bloomery workers during the seasons when we have a few spare workers, so that we can make sure enough is being produced. We'll come back and make sure everything is set up for those in just a second. But over here, I'll imagine we need to do a little bit more maintenance of the new properties we set up. Indeed, there's a couple ready for upgrades, and everybody would like some animals. So let's order in an outrageous number of pigs. All the way through here. Only 32% on the woodland, because we don't have a lot of woodland here. It's becoming quite urban, actually. And that's one of the downsides of having a smaller area to work with. What are you short of? Forest goods. I'm sure you'll get there. Right, let's upgrade all of you as well. Oh, so a few of you drop out of being able to upgrade. In fact, that's a good point. We never got your granaries active, did we? Let's come in here and set you up your limits. 3 workers and give you an upgrade. Down here as well. Get you a storehouse operational, and we'll go for a second granary as well. Okay. We're probably going to run a little bit low on workers as we go into autumn, to be honest. That should give you everything you need ready for your upgrades. We'll continue going through here buying pigs. We are rather using all of our money, aren't we? That's okay though, we knew that was going to happen. And we've got a way to replenish it now. I've certainly ordered a goat there, but it is what it is. Little Easter egg amongst all of the piggies. Let's glide our way along here, buying pigs left, right, and indeed centre. Splendid stuff. Is that everyone catered for over here? We'll come back and do your upgrades. Splendid stuff. Back over yonder then. Let's go and check in with our new blacksmiths. And we're going to set up a similar limit on pole arms. Iron slabs, pole arms. At least 50. But we've got a fair number of iron slabs built up already, and plenty of capacity to bring more iron out of the ground. So already 8 pole arms already, 12 sidearms as well. Have we started exporting them? Let's go and check the records for exports. We have not. Soon, I hope though, we shall. They have made their way, started making their way to the trading post for export. 8 days left until harvest season begins. And hopefully, the additional flax we bring in will actually allow us to have some garments. Though for the first time, we do appear to have a stock of garments. Plenty of yarn. So what we're limited by there is actually tailors now. So let's go down to Tailor's Row, where I did set 1 tailor up. And let's now go ahead and get another 2 built. Maybe we do all 4. Blast! How do I always manage to accidentally build a vegetable garden instead of what I'm actually looking to do? It's a weakness, that's for sure. We may need to do some expansions over here in terms of accommodation as well. Now we've got all these people here who are now going to be specialised rather than available for the general labour market. And indeed, we have gone through to September and we are short a worker to do something. Hopefully though, I think we've got actually dropped to 79% approval. We were 80 for a long time. I'm hoping that we'll be able to deal with that as a new family moves in. It'll take care of the problem for us. We have plenty of people working on construction because of course we have the construction yards. Nearly there with the tailor's workshops. Lovely. So you're going to make... Do you make yarn clothes? You make woolen clothes, don't you? One than the other. Okay. Right, well then here then. We'll set you up to linen, then yarn. Then we'll go back, yarn, then linen. And then we'll correct you to be a tailor's workshop. Okay. I think that should allow us to make a fair number of clothes. Don't need to set any limits or anything on this, because we just want as many clothes as we can possibly get our filthy little hands on. So that should help out with that enormously. I do like the curving streets going up here on the peninsula. Next year as well. But you must remind me next year, we need to get down some of those trees I keep talking about planting. Whoop, upgrades. Let's go here, make some upgrades. That's a bit weird. I've come over here, and obviously I've spawned all of the animals at the same time in render distance, and they all move at exactly the same time. To exactly the same setting. Very strange. We've got plenty of accommodation space for people to be moving in, even if we are starting to look a little shy on the old ox guide front. But with 79% approval, people still will be moving in. Fuel is still looking a little bit pressed. How are we doing? We'd need another charcoal kiln is what I'm seeing there. So we'll come down to industry, and we'll pop one of these down in the appropriate sector, just behind the firewood production down here. Would seem a good locale to me. Like so. We'll connect that up to the road there. Lovely, and we'll have to assign a few people. I imagine as well we may need to go through and adjust the limits of people working here. As more and more people move into our lovely Valley Kingdom, we need to make sure we've got enough firewood to keep them lovely and warm. The game definitely feels slower since the update. It's taken much longer to get to the large town settlement levels than it would have done previously, I feel. But we are trying to do everything pretty much through one region here. This may end up becoming a two-parter, we'll have to wait and see. Another upgrade for us to action down here, so we'll go ahead and press the wrong button, because why not? And that other tailor's workshop, that should be down now, shouldn't it? So let's go over here and set you up. So, wool, then yarn, and 50 clothes, look at that. Clothes coming onto the market in their droves. We've got a little bit of mead as well. Anyone over here ready for a level 3 upgrade? What are you short on? So the garments haven't reached you yet, have they? Let's check your storehouse. There are clothes here. There are clothes here. Has anyone got garments but is missing something else, perhaps? None of you have gone shopping yet to realise that you can buy garments. You know, how long we've been without garments, you just expect that everyone would be walking around naked, wouldn't you? But they're not. Weird. Let's go to this farmhouse and get a plough ready for when we do get that one operational. And let's see how we're getting on with planting up. We have... Oh dear. We are very short on workers. I did not realise quite how short on workers we are for the farmhouses. That one's nearly full, but we are missing a lot from this one down here. Right, where can we free workers up? We'll have to go through and make a general saving. So, over here, what do we have? Foresters. Let's reduce the number of foresters in this season by 1 at each of those. Can't afford to reduce woodcutters because we're a little short on timber at this time. Forager. Are we done foraging by this time of year? Looks like it, so we'll unassign you. Where else can we afford to lose? Livestock trading post. You're not actually doing anything at this time of year, are you? Maybe let's... Oh dear. Hello? Hello? Let's let you have a worker in the winter, just in case we do need someone there. What else can we make savings? Not really the livestock trading post. It's because we put all these additional industries in. I suppose we could unassign families from the quarry. Yeah. During the winter. And have them there other times of the year. So that'll free up 3 families. I don't think you can do that with deep mines. No, there's no option with the deep mines, which is interesting. I guess maybe when you're that far underground, it's really a dedicated job. You're not doing anything else. Has that freed up the workers we need? We've got 3 unassigned families, apparently. Has that put us... Yeah, we're up to 7 families working at that farmhouse now. I might even go ahead and get a couple working at this farmhouse just as soon as that construction is complete, because of course that will free up a few additional oxen. So we can get everything planted. We've got 56 flax, so hopefully we're turning that into some linen. I'm hoping we're finally on top of the whole clothing problem. What do we want to do with the rest of this space then? Well, we definitely do need a few additional burgages for orchards. So let's see if we can make a few mega burgages. So I'm going to come up for here. And we're going to take a curved road. A little bit like that there. Nothing like that. It's awful. Take a curved road here. Okay, let's try it there. Sure. Something like that. And then we'll get down a couple of double burgages and basically make a mega orchard here. What's wrong with that? Why isn't it like that? What about if we come from the other side? Is it just too big? It's not giving me a reason that I can't build it. It's not too steep. Is there a road here that's being funny? What if we rebuild across this one? Tie it into this. And maybe we should do the same with the King's Road. Like that there. Let's see if that gives us any improvement to the snapping. Yes. Okay. Right. So I definitely think these should be double baggages, and it looks like we'll get 2 in there, so we'll put those down. Those will be our mega orchards. Hopefully they'll have time to harvest everything. I don't think I've run into a problem before where we're not actually getting anything out, although their pantries might get a little full. I suppose that might be one problem. Goodness, storehouses are looking very pressed, aren't they? I guess we could have another storehouse here, couldn't we? We'll assign 2 families to that one to see if we can help get on top of that particular problem. Grandiose, how are we doing for materials? We've actually got enough dressed stone. We could start the manor construction, but we do want to go ahead and get a few trees in there before I do that. It's November now, so not the best time to start. We'll definitely have to look at that next year. Are we mostly planted down here? How far into November are we? Yeah, we're not going to have everything done again this year, are we? Oh dear. Okay, let's assign a couple of oxen to this here farmhouse. Let's see if we get another one active. Regional wealth seems to have recovered somewhat, and yep, that's from the sale of weapons that we're starting to export, and we're getting a nice surplus of swords as well, which hopefully we should be able to sell at a fairly decent pace. We can always look to make a few more as well, because we have plenty of iron available, I do believe, for said weapons. 591 iron slabs, indeed. Right, we will hopefully get through the winter. Fuel is definitely looking a little bit squeaky bum time, but we have plenty of unassigned families. Now we're coming through to the winter period. Not loads actually, but enough, because they've all been sent to different workplaces, so we'll have to come back to the farms next year. And we should have... we need to get a couple of additional workers here at the charcoal kiln. Okay. And hopefully that'll allow us to turn the excess firewood we have into charcoal. And we may need to get another woodcutter's lodge. It might be that what we should do is get another woodcutter's lodge active in another area. Now we have obviously heavily moved into this area over here in terms of filling it with an urban area. We've done a lot of deforestation here. I wasn't really planning on replanting it over here, but given the problems we're having with firewood, etc., I wonder if we should put some additional forests back in this area. So we'll get down a couple of foresters here, and alongside them we'll have a couple of woodcutters and a couple of charcoal kilns behind them. So one there and one here. We'll go through a road. Ooh, look at them a bit too close to those front ones. Let's move them back a smidge. In fact, we'll build the road first. That'll make more sense, won't it? Demolish that. Build the road out just here. Lovely. And charcoal kilns. Get a road in between. Or maybe we won't. That's fine. Roll with the punches. Connect that back down there. Look at all the logs we got cut down. My good gracious me. In fact, we're probably good for timber, aren't we? We've got 625 of this stuff. Let's go ahead and unassign a few of the workers at this here logging camp, so we can free them up for other purposes. And we'll come in here and get all these upgrades on the way. Is this starting to affect the amount of pork we have in the market? It does look to be. We've got 36 now. And we still have a greater surplus of clothes now than we did previously, so that's a good sign. Let's slightly adjust the area for these foresters and get those down. And then set them an assignment for the other seasons. Hopefully we have enough people to service that by the time we get there. We're up to 86% on the approval. Now we've got those clothes being distributed, so we are back up to that +2 monthly migration, so we should be growing our population fairly quickly, which is a blessing and a curse, of course. Do we have excess honey? We're turning honey into meat as quickly as we make it. What are we missing over here then? Is it just meats now? Most of you have beverages, although not all of you. I must say, the mead is not quite the ale replacement I was hoping it would be. Oh gosh, we're down to 25 animal feed. Why is that? We've got 61 oat sheaves that haven't yet to be turned into oats. We might have to start culling some of our animal population, because I don't think we can support much larger than what we have now. Which is really small compared to what we would have had. Previously, I'd have had hundreds and hundreds of sheep, but I just don't know if that's feasible anymore. I think part of the issue is we've not been getting everything out of the farms that I would expect to have been getting out. Where are all of these oat sheaves being held? Because they should be being processed into oats. I don't know why they wouldn't be. They're not in any of the farmhouses, which means they must have gone to a granary somewhere. Why would I want oat sheaves in a granary? Very strange. We'll have to keep an eye on that, or we're going to start losing animals, which will be a bit of a worry. Over here then, we'll get these two set up with orchards. Like so. I'll upgrade to be action down there. And down here. And in there as well. We're going to have to do a great reassigning at some point, because the storehouses are looking pretty pressed in terms of their ability to cope with the current demands we have for them. And just as soon as we come into March, we're going to get on with doing some lovely planting of some trees down by our manor. Right, so we had an absolute disaster. Basically, most of our animals have starved to death. I'm so sorry, cows. My beautiful cows. Oh dear. It's very sad. We basically just ran out of animal feed right at the end of the year, and it really, really did us. It was really bad. It was really bad. So what we're learning here is that the... What's going on here? What? We're making... What? Don't remember doing anything to you. Oh, you're level 3. Ah. I don't remember clicking on you to upgrade. I must have just swished past and thought, ooh, look, an upgrade button. I didn't really register it was level 3. Yes, so... Obviously, we're not making enough animal feed. And I think most of that is because, as we go in debt to the king, most of that is because we are just not producing enough oats, and we had all those problems with getting the fields ready last year. So we're definitely going to need to address the whole farming issue, potentially do some farming in another region and import some more oats to keep our population stable in terms of having enough food to feed all of those lovely cows we used to have. We are down now to just 8 cows, 2 calves. Still got a reasonable number of sheep, but it's definitely about half of the animals we had that have been lost very sadly. Alas, there's nothing to be done about it at the moment. We're just going to have to hope that we bring in a reasonable amount of oats this year. It's like maybe 50 from down there, same there, some across here. So maybe we are going to be doing farming over here for some oats sooner rather than later, because we have good fertility over there for oats. I say good. It's just not as bad as everywhere else. They're not in a great region for farming, that's for sure. So maybe the region over there where we have access to great fertility and also some salt wouldn't be a bad idea after all. Anyway, with all that to one side, we of course need to get on with planting some lovely trees over here, as we keep promising we're going to get around to doing. So we'll slow the game down just a tad. Continue popping these upgrades as and when they pop up. What are we up to with piggies now? We've got 14 pork, so there is a general shortage of food on the market, I'm finding. We're massively increasing the population. Don't really feel we've massively increased our production, and that's probably because we've got so many families set over to making honey for our mead. Oh, before I forget, I did go over here in the winter and assign ourselves an additional brewery. Where are you? Over here somewhere. There you are. And your main role is to make cider from excess apples, because for the first time we do have a relatively decent supply of more than 100 apples at a given time. So hopefully we'll start to see some of that come onto the market as well. Indeed, 4 cider there, and that will help out with the food supply. So I'm going to nab a few of these chaps here, and we're going to go down, limit the work area to be as small as can be, and we said we were going to put in a lovely bunch of trees, kind of screening the manor from the rest of its grounds. So we'll wait for these to be planted, and then we'll do what we did in our previous playthrough and just work our way along until we're happy. So we have to wait a little while for the people to arrive. Once they're here, we should be able to crack on nicely. We'll have to increase our taxation as well. Now we're up to 87% approval. It's not too bad that we can increase in taxation, so we can get a bit more money into the coffers, ready to settle that additional region we've been talking about. Come on, where are my planters? Come on, tree folk. I know you live on the other side of the river, but there's a bridge. You should be able to walk over here, no problems. Take your time, take your time. Where are they? Oh, there we are. Let's get a tree planted there, my friend, and then we'll start working our way along the road. Where are your colleagues? There should be more than just the one of you. Stop having a chat and do your job, will you? You're standing on top of the planting spot. Oh my goodness. You're nowhere near as good as the Romans I had doing this job. Come on. Oh, this is frustrating. It was not this difficult last time. Right. So you've planted a tree there. Let's keep going. We may need to get a more local forester, is what I'm thinking here. Thank you. That's more like it. Right, I wonder if now they're over here, it's going to be a little bit faster. Usually there'll be 2 or 3 of them planting in at one go. Not seeing that here so much. What's this lad over here doing? Come on. Oh my goodness, he's chatting again. He's chatting again. You know what? You're fired. Go back over here. Make sure you're not both doing the same area. You are. Right, I'll do that one there. Let's build a local forester. Put you down just here. Should be done very quickly, given we have the construction yards just the other side of the road. And then we'll see if we can use some locals who'll be more efficient at planting. Looks like they did at least plant a couple of these trees I asked them to. I only see 2 there. I might have to go back in the middle again. Come on, people. Things to do. People to see. Build me. How have you not got 2 logs here yet? There's literally 80 logs back here. There's 160 or 159 logs back here. Come on. Where are they bringing the logs from? Are they not coming from the construction yards? Where did you come from? Oh, who knows. I wonder if maybe they're taking from the fields first, where there's just hundreds of logs scattered about. Oh, look! Large village settlement level. Fantabulous. So, it's just footwear that's actually stopping you from upgrading to level 4, is it? What? Oh my goodness. Oats satisfy the requirement for grains. Don't necessarily need to have breads anymore. Interesting. Well, we better start making some footwear then, shouldn't we, really? I'm actually going to make that your job. Oh my goodness, we can make cheese. Well, I'm doing that. Right now. Make me cheese. Make it so. And yes, you should also make cheese. Just make it happen, will you? You're making footwear. You're making cheese. Thank you kindly. Finally, they're getting on with construction of my lovely little forester's hut. Reasonable amount of pork on the market as well. Come on, what's taking so long? I literally have dozens of people whose job it is just to construct things and just to move logs around. And there's 1 log here out of 2. What is going on? There are 6 oxen over here whose only job it is to move resources around. This feels a little bit broken, people, I'm not going to lie. I don't know if you can tell, a little bit frustrated. Got 2 construction yards. My dream was this would make construction really easy, and yet they won't put out ever another log. Stay calm. It's okay. And breathe. And breathe. And breathe. And rage. And breathe. And breathe. And rage. Right, I'm going to stare at you until you've done it. Look, Jeffrey. You didn't build this. Gosh, now, you know what? Go and pick it up with your hands. Pick it up with your blooming hands and bring me a log. I can see the log. I'll do it myself. I'll go and get it. I will. Don't make me do it. Anna, I hate you. I wish you weren't one of my citizens. Maybe I'll let you all starve for this insolence. Right, I took a quick walk, sated my rage, reloaded the game, and they have now delivered it. So we'll put it down to a bug, and we will let them off. And we will get on with the planting that we tried to start earlier. So we've got one tree there. I'm going to want one here as well. And hopefully now that they're local folks, they should come over here and just get the job done rather than their procrastinating colleagues. Although in fairness as well, if the game was starting to get a little bit funny about delivering logs, they may also have had problems with deforestation. There we go. Plant a tree, please. No, don't want to. Thank you. Thank you. And then we'll just work away along here. That's more like it. That's what I was hoping for. What we had previously in the Roman-style settlement, where they each planted a couple of trees on the spot. And then we didn't have quite so many workers. Can actually probably get a fair few of them working at a time here on different holes. Because I don't think they cancel what they're doing, they just finish it before they move on. Okay. Work our way out to here. And where else do we want to put them? So that's going to give us a bit of a screen around here. We can continue it all the way around the manor. I don't think so, but what we might do is just dot... Hello? Where'd you go? Oh dear, I'm going to plant a tree there apparently. Is just dot a few around. Make it look fairly uniform. We'll stay reasonably close to the road. So we'll put one there. And then we'll leave a bit of a gap. And work our way along, just so it looks planned, basically. Splendid stuff. Hopefully a couple of them plant a tree each time. So we get more than just a single lone standing tree. It's a bit close to the building, they don't want to dig it. There we go. And work our way around the edge, and then we can leave these foresters to go and work in other jobs, such as farming, which will be far more critical than what they're doing now. Work our way around here. Lovely stuff. And we might as well basically link around here to where we have the inner line of trees kind of screening the manor from its surroundings. Okay. And then maybe we'll just put one here as well. And then I think... do we go a couple across here? Yeah, we've done it all the way around there, haven't we? So it would make sense to do it here as well. And then we can move on to finally getting the manor constructed. All this time later. Grand. Right, we'll let you plant the tree there. And then you can all go and do something else. Thank you very much. Grand, so with all that planting done, let's go to the manor, open the castle planner, and commit. Right, let's see just how quickly the manor can be constructed with 2 construction camps literally next door. So we'll go and do a little bit of a time lapse. Well, it took a little while, but we got there in the end. Our glorious little manor in the centre of the valley, surrounded by a moat on a little peninsula, is complete. And I love the little town we've got inside. The vegetable gardens, the orchards, and hopefully the trees are planted up as well. The well, the tax office, and a bloomery, as well as a little bit of storage in the form of our lovely granary and storehouse. And I think it completes it quite nicely and is a good centerpiece for this wonderful valley kingdom we've been constructing. Now, we've learned a lot. There's a lot of things we need to do differently if we're going to survive long term. We have definitely got a bit of a problem when it comes to livestock. We lost quite a few last year, and we have not got loads of animal feed. I think it probably is enough to see us through the next year because of the reduced numbers we have. But we're definitely going to need to make a bit more. We're out of accommodation space. Let's go and actually buy some apples for here. 740, my goodness, very expensive indeed. We'll also get some expansions popped on for them there. We've got our glorious stone church over here, the manor in the background, and of course the rest of our settlement. So there's a fair bit of balancing to do when it comes to the food production. We've got a fair bit of pork actually. I don't know if we've made any cheese yet. We've got only a little bit of milk. Since we've reduced the number of cows we have, obviously that has had an impact on that. And we are a little ways from getting any level 4 upgrades, that's for sure. That's all we have time for today, friends. There's still so much I want to do in this playthrough, least of all getting the town up to the large town settlement level. So comment down below if you'd like to see me continue this save next week. A like, hype and sub go a long way towards helping the channel grow. A huge thank you to my members, your direct support is invaluable. You're the reason I can keep the channel growing. If you're still in the mood to chill, join me in another video and maybe become a member to gain early access. But enough of all that, I've been Typical T, and this has been Manor Lords. Cheerio!